Hello, and welcome to Recentered, your very sporadic VR gaming and hardware related podcast. My name's Rog. With me this week, as always, we've got Gary and Lee. And before we get into all the ins and outs of what's been going on over the past month, let's have a bit of a catch up. So, Gary, how's it been going?
It's been all right, yeah. I've been busy with work as usual. I'm probably always banging on about that, but yeah, busy with that. And then I've had a bit of a cold, so VR's had to take a little bit of a backseat, but I've struggled through. You know, I don't say anything. I just get on with it. That's how it is. Yeah. So I've still been played quite a bit of VR, but I've also last week or the week before, I started getting back into some retro stuff. Just very quickly, I'll mention this. So this was, I bought this old retro PC years ago, Pentium 2 based system, and I had it working for a while, but then the hard disk was gradually getting worse and worse, and it finally failed. So I stuck it in the shed and didn't touch it for a couple of years. And then I thought, just one day, I was watching one of these lazy game reviews. I don't know if you watch that YouTube channel, but he's like a massive sort of PC retro gamer, and he does all of these videos of restoring old PCs, and it just got me thinking about this one. So I got it back out and installed a compact flash-based hard drive in there, got it up and running again. So I've been messing around with that for the past couple of weeks, which is, it's just been a nice little break, to be honest, than just focusing on VR. It's just been a nice little project, because I used to love messing around with the PCs back in the 90s, and I know how everything works, and it's just like an enjoyable experience. I think it's just like a nice, relaxing experience to get an old PC up and running again, starting from scratch and installing Windows 95. And the advantage I've got with this one, I've installed, not on these pictures that I'm showing here, I've got a compact flash hard drive, which I can it's in the front of the PC, so I can literally swap it out. So you can have different installs, like Windows 98 or a 3.1 and a DOS install if you want. It's just great. So yeah, I've been enjoying that.
I remember when we used to get Rog, can you remember when we used to get towers, and we always just start off like super small ones? I think I had like an Athlon 400, something like that. It was in a tiny little case, and eventually we just kept getting bigger and bigger cases. And I think the one I did have was about 3 foot tall. It was from some sort of workplace that didn't want it, and I got my tiny motherboard in it, one drive, and I mean, you could fit a small person in it probably. It was that big. Yeah. But it kind of went that way for a bit, but I wish I still got that, because I think they are worth quite a bit of decent money on eBay now if you get one of those giant tower cases.
Yeah.
It's sort of crazy how everybody used to have those creamy beige, boxes with a monitor sat on top for so long. And then once I went to
the speakers. What were the speakers everybody used to have? Those ones, them white ones at the side with like little tiny subwoofer type tweeters in the bottom.
Speakers by any chance?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the ones. Trust ones. Yeah.
I used to sell those with multimedia kits when I worked at good grief, Choice Peripherals.
Oh yeah,
back
I
in the
think
day.
we spoke about this, right? Yes. I don't know if we spoke about it on the podcast, but I think I said you must be working there when I came in to buy some as well, like 27 years ago, wherever it was.
Yeah. It's crazy, yep. Multimedia kit, your CD-ROM drive, a sound card, and some speakers.
Yeah,
that was it. That was the buzzword. That was the buzzword back in the day. I don't miss.
I've got a Voodoo 3000 in this as well. I picked one of those up, and then I picked that up years ago. I installed it in this PC, and then you look at on eBay now, the prices of these graphics cards is ridiculous. I mean, they're like the well over. Well, some of them are like 200 quid. The one I've got, I think you're probably paying 200 quid for it on eBay.
Yeah, it's an AGP card. Yeah,
it's an AGP. In this one.
Yeah, big money. Yeah, it's amazing, really, isn't it? That the amount of things that we used to go through in them days. And they're still worth the same money now.
The stuff you couldn't give away back then, it's worth a fortune now, isn't it?
I had a TV card in mine as well that cost me like 90 quid because, believe it or not, boys and girls, you couldn't play movie files on your PC then.
Yeah.
And so I had a TV card in, so I could.
I was the first person movies. I knew who bought a Matrox Millennium. It cost 200 quid at the time, and everybody thought I was out of my mind spending 200 quid on a graphics card. And then I went and spent 200 quid on a Sound Blaster 032, and then put some memory on it. Which was ludicrous back in that time. It was just crazy. But I don't miss those grey IDE cables though. Good grief.
Oh god.
No. The thing I learned by installing a compact flash hard drive is actually you get the adapter, the dirt cheap, because it's pin for pin the same as an IDE. Compact flash is pin for pin identical apparently. So it's literally just converting an adapter from one sort of form factor to another.
Yeah.
That's why they work so well. But it's like taking a step back in time, definitely. But I mean, I'm enjoying it. Playing a bit of Screamer 2 and Deus Ex and stuff. So
yeah, if you weren't used to building PCs back then, with those IDE cables could be a real pain to put in the right way around. Hey Tim,
Yes.
so somebody listening's going to be not happy. Anyway, next up on the Recentered podcast, Lee, what you been up to?
Well, a bit of a different couple of weeks, really. I had a bit of an incident Monday that maybe I'll speak about later that I've been a little poorly over. Just like a bit of flu again, same as Gary. As in VR, you played a bit of VR, got a friend into VR how many times can I say VR? that I'll speak about later maybe at some point as well. But yeah, just overall, it's not been so great, but I'm glad to be back. I've been, missing the podcast, and hopefully everybody listening has been missing us too.
Well, hopefully so. I mean, I must admit, I was going to say it was my fault we didn't do one a couple of weeks back, but in all honesty, it's entirely Lee's fault because he posted a picture of himself with long hair, and it's taken me a month to get over it. So that's my excuse.
That's not a wig, by the way. That was that is my real hair, and I've had it longer than that in the past as well. I tried to find a photo when we were talking on about the people with the long hair, and there's a picture of me somewhere in a pub, and I've got 2 jugs, drink responsibly everybody, before I mention this, 2 jugs of strawberry daiquiri hanging out each pocket, and so I look like the strawberry daiquiri kid. And I think it was during the time of Movember, so I've got like a Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean moustache and beard as well, along with my incredibly long hair. If I can find it, I'll try and send it to you, but that is one to look at, Rog.
Don't rush.
I should have had that picture prepared for the YouTube version of this.
Don't inflict it on people.
That.
What have I been doing? Not that much, in all honesty. I did pick up RoboCop when it came out, the flat game. Really enjoyed that, played through that, finished that. It feels very old school. It sort of feels like an early Deus Ex game. In some strange regards, in the sort of map size and the way it plays out. But I mean, visually, it feels like an old school game with a very modern visuals. Looks absolutely stunning in places. The amount of detail in the environments is insane. So I played that, and then sort of finally started on Cyberpunk. Oh, good grief! It looks stunning. It just looks so good. I mean, I know it's a nice looking game, but good grief, it's one that I've picked up. I've played a little bit on PC because you can play it, believe it or not, on Steam Deck. They've got an actual Steam Deck profile for it to get it running. It runs about 30 frames per second. So, but it does run in. It runs pretty well. Yeah. But yeah, I've yet to get into it deep, but I've played about 3 hours of it so far. Yeah. I think it's really impressive.
But I'm about 25 minutes in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought it ages ago in one of the sales, and I keep waiting for them to get like the definitive version, easy for me to say. And they keep updating it, don't they? Keep updating. Right, now's the time to buy it.
Yeah.
And I played like 25 minutes. Didn't really understand what I was supposed to be doing. I thought, I'll play it another day. And I think that was like 2 years ago. So I definitely need to get back into that one.
But I bunged it on there because it supports like DLSS. Is it 3.5?
Yeah.
It's got some new path tracing, graphics, experimental mode. Whacked all that on, and with DLSS I can, tweak the options a bit. But good grief, it's stunning. It absolutely looks incredible.
No, all this is with your new graphics card, right? And all right.
Yeah,
so have you been finding that?
I'd held off playing Cyberpunk until I upgraded. It's one of the reasons I'd not really got around to playing it. The new graphics card's been doing great, really. No complaints at all. Still don't know what to do about. I still want a new CPU and motherboard, and I'm still a bit. I keep saying Intel for life, but I keep looking at benchmarks, and it's like the Intels make no sense money wise. They really
7800 X3D is supposed to be your go-to now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But the Zen 5 stuff's out next year, innit, as well. And it's like, I'm not struggling with anything at the moment, so I might just hold off unless something comes along where I suddenly think, oh wow, I definitely need that increase in processor and everything, I might hold off and see what happens next year. But the new Intels have been a bit of a disappointment, really. But anyway,
this is where I'm like though with like upgrading. Sorry, very quickly. I'm the same. It's like I'd love something better than what I've got. I mean, I've got a 3060 graphics card, and I think it's like a 5600 or 3600 Ryzen chip, something like that. I can't remember what it is, but I'm like, do I spend? I need to spend like $4,000 to upgrade it, probably more. And just for my missus to play like Farming Simulator and stuff, it does what I want it to do, but it doesn't do what I want it to do, if you know what I mean. But this is the thing, isn't it?
Sometimes it's like, oh, I really need to upgrade this, but then you look at it and you think, well, what is it not doing that I need, that I need to upgrade? And it's like, well, at the moment, nothing.
The thing is, it's like, I mean, I've started to put money aside now. I'm not planning. I'm going to stick to the PC I've got for the next until the 5000 series GPUs come out, and that might not be till 2025. But I've got a little fund that I'm just putting to one side, so I've got like 200 quid in it at the minute. But like you say, Lee, to upgrade a full system, because that's what it's going to take me, really. I'm going to need to upgrade everything, the motherboard and everything. And for the first time, I'm thinking maybe I'll just buy a system, from somewhere. I've not really done that before. I've always built it, but it makes sense once the new graphics cards come out, because they're easier to obtain if you buy a full system anyway. But it's going to cost like, it's going to be like $3,000, isn't it? At least.
At least. I mean, PC Specialist is where I got my. Well, I actually got mine from Currys, but it was PC Specialist that built it, and I actually had a couple of dealings with them and spoke to one of the guys there, and he said, "Look, if you have any problems, just ring us up direct, because otherwise you've taken it to Currys, they bring it to us, blah blah." So they were pretty good on the phone, and they said, "Look, anything you want doing, just let us know." Yeah. So they were quite good.
I think my 486 DX266 is the only PC I ever bought. My very first PC after I moved on from the Amiga. After that, within a few weeks, I'd had it disassembled it and put it back together. And then after that, I always built my own, and I always have. But like you say, with the way the prices are going, have been at least, sometimes it might just be better off just buying it.
It's like 3-year guarantee. I mean, to say that, I have replaced the front fans in mine. I've got an NVMe extra drive in, thanks to Raj. I've got an Elgato capture card. I put more memory in it. It's just like buying a car and just putting some decent alloys on it when you've got it, that's all.
Oh no, he'll be putting all the flashing LEDs in it next.
Oh yeah, I've got all of them. I don't like them, but my missus likes them. Because it's in the corner of the living room where I am. Yeah. So it's like, it kind of makes a nice aura about it, and it's glowing up in the corner when it's on, if we're watching a movie or something like that. But I'm not an LED fan, clear windows and all that, no. Anyway, welcome to PCs R Us. Hope you've enjoyed it so far.
Get into it.
Anyway, as somebody said in the comments, thank you very much last time, they enjoy our podcast just because we get on with it.
Yes,
And thanks for all the comments.
16 minutes.
Thanks for all the comments on the last podcast, by the way. There's some really nice ones on there. Really appreciate it. But anyway, this is a VR podcast, so let's get on with it. And first up, Vampire the Masquerade Justice. Gary, this one's going to heavily rest on you.
Okay. So this came out. My thoughts on this were actually a little bit more clear a couple of weeks ago when we originally were going to be talking about it, because quite honestly, I've not played it since, Assassin's Creed has come out and that kind of stuff. So, but I went in, I was really looking forward to this because I've mentioned before, and a lot of people were talking about the fact that it's sort of like Dishonored or Thief. It's got that kind of stealth vibe about this. And while I agree, I think it does have that overall, and that gameplay style is something that I really like. I just feel like it's not pushing that element far enough for me, really. I went in and I thought, this is good. I felt like it was a good solid game, but you notice it's running in reprojection. We'll be talking about reprojection probably quite a bit in this episode. So it's 36 up to 72 hertz, 36 frames per second, reprojects up to 72 hertz. And I noticed it. I knew that. Well, actually, initially I was like, is this running in reprojection? And then I put on the OVR metrics and just confirmed it. Because actually moving your hands in front of your face, where you can usually tell if it's running in reprojection, that wasn't. I didn't notice the artifacts as quickly. But then, one of the places where I did notice it is where if you're in something like one of the the room where the Nosferatu is, the vampire that you're working for at the beginning, if you move side to side, you'll see the candles and they're sort of blurring in its telltale sign. But honestly, the reprojection in this didn't bother me that much. I know, Roger, you might have something to say about it, but for me, I felt like I could get past it in this particular game, and that wasn't a focus for me at all. Gameplay-wise was more of... I was really looking forward to it, and I played it for about 2 hours, and I was thinking it's okay, but it's not doing it enough of what I want it to do. I want it to be more of a Dishonored. And the big thing is really, I think what I've boiled it down to is the fact that the areas that you're going around, it's set in Venice, so it's all sort of very enclosed, very narrow areas. I don't think those areas are big enough to really make it a kind of a Dishonored type game, at least from what I've played so far. I'm up to the first boss, or just past the first boss now. And I've not seen any huge areas where you can really pick off a strategy. You can take off NPC, like the enemies one by one, and work your way around and plan a different strategy around these areas. It's more like you've got maybe 2 or 3 NPC enemies, in an area, and that's it. You know, it's not like, it's not really playing into that Dishonored aspect as much as I would like it to. So that's where I've fallen on it, really.
Yeah, because when you're playing the game, I think it's on as default. There's you get like a waypoint marker showing you where you sort of like you're going next, and you can turn this off, and you sort of think, oh well, maybe that'll sort of enhance the exploration and everything. But like you say, it's so sort of focused that it's not even. I don't think it was even really necessary.
No, it's not open enough. No. That's the thing, I think. Yeah,
it's. I didn't play a lot of this at all. It's just the entire thing. It was just the feeling of the game just didn't gel with me. It was just, I just didn't like it. I just simply did not like it. The one of the other things that put me off as well, the reprojection I could have lived with, apart from the fact it's easy to call it a micro stutter. I wouldn't call it that, but I would call it a regular hitch in the frame rate. And it was very visible to me, and it's very minor, but it's one of those things that it repeated with such sort of regularity that maybe microstutter is I don't know whether it's a correct term.
I think that will definitely be the word of the podcast, by the way.
Yeah,
we'll get into that more later, but yeah.
But and it just put me off. The feel of the game that I don't know. Nothing did anything for me with this at all. I just don't know. I just don't know what it is. It's just.
Do you think? It could be like the setting. It's just not your kind of like the Venice setting or the vampire theme or something like that.
The thing is, I've not got any sort of affinity towards it. Sort of like the whole vampire sort of thing when it comes to sort of fantasy. I prefer more sort of high fantasy type games, really. But that's not to say I don't enjoy a good vampire movie or whatever. Even the really old stuff. I like a good vampire movie, but games-wise, the whole. Sorry,
you're a Twilight fan.
Oh, good. Don't
maybe not that one.
Let's not get started on that. But yeah, it's give me Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing or whatever. The whole Vampire Masquerade thing again. It's like I've never really got into any of the games. I played the very first one when it. Good grief, decades ago now. And I've never really played any of the others. It's not my sort of thing, but I've not got anything against it. But I think I don't know what it was. This, like you say, I wanted Thief, I wanted Dishonored. And this just, I don't know what it was. It just didn't do it for me.
It doesn't push that element far enough, in my opinion. So it's sort of it dips a toe in that Dishonored kind of element, in my opinion, and it's not quite enough to keep me interested. And my overall thoughts is I do think it's actually a good game. I think it's a good game, but after a few hours, I was thinking maybe, there's something here where I'm just thinking maybe I'm just getting bored of this, going through these levels. Yeah. But at the same time, there's other times I was thinking, what they've done here is pretty impressive, and I could still certainly understand people really enjoying this and being drawn to it. I will put up the metrics on this quickly because it will illustrate a point I want to get to later on. But so this one's, and you probably can't see this very clearly what I'm showing here, but just to mention it, you can see that it's running at 36 frames per second, and it really doesn't fluctuate from that. You've got like a reasonably solid line on that side of the graph, where on the left side of the graph on the metrics, and I know you can't probably see this that clearly, but generally it's pretty solid, and there are some occasional dips which might be what you're seeing, but overall this highlights something which I'll get to in Assassin's Creed later on, because this is probably more how you would expect it. And just quickly, Roger, no spoilers, but how did you feel like the frame rate in terms of stutters in this compared to Assassin's Creed? Because to me this was far more consistent.
Oh yeah, this is easily way more consistent than Assassin's Creed, no doubt.
Yeah. So overall, look, I can understand people really enjoying this, and I think it's a good game, but it's just not pushing it in enough in the area that I really wanted it to, unfortunately. So yeah,
maybe if you're into the whole sort of, is it World of Darkness or whatever, I can't remember what they're called there, sort of, the IP for this. But if you're into the whole Vampire Masquerade thing, you're probably going to enjoy it, but it's just, not for me. Next up, back into Genotype, Gary.
Yeah.
So there's been a couple of patches for this. First off, there was it the resolution patch? I can't remember.
It was Quest 3 graphics. Yeah. They didn't actually mention resolution, I don't think. It was more lighting and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh yes, yes. There was a definite notice improvement.
Did they bump the resolution up? I could have sworn
they might have done.
Read that they've put it to native resolution now, or was that another game? I get mixed up. So
I can't remember.
I didn't see them mention resolution in the patch notes for this one from where I saw it, but it's possible they did that as well. I don't know.
Yeah, but just and then the other day they dropped another patch which has added sort of in-game content stuff. I think stuff to craft, extra stuff, upgrades
like
to get,
stories to find, and little secret hidden things. Right? Yeah.
It's like
cool.
It is the problem. I've had a problem with Genotype because I went back in after the first patch, and I think the game bugged out for me.
Right.
I was trying to continue on playing it. Does it get any more interesting than finding these DNA samples?
No, that is the game. That is the game. Yeah. So you go through these separate different areas, and you have to find a different number of DNA samples in each one. Yeah, that is it. Fair
enough. But anyway, I was trying to find some DNA samples yet again, and I couldn't get into an area where I was trying to go back into an area I'd been to, and the door just wouldn't open. And what is going on?
I know this bug, so I know what you need to do here. Right, because I had this. Go on, yeah.
What happened is I was wandering about for ages, and I went back into an area where one of the doors had actually stayed open.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the creatures had actually spawned in there, or they spawned when I went back in finally. But there was something I'd not just running around that I'd not killed. And once I killed those, suddenly the door what had stayed open became functional again. And then the area I went to, the door would actually then open.
So what happens is you can go into an area and you can kill all the enemies, but sometimes what will happen is the doors will glitch where one will stay open, and if the door stays open, other doors just won't operate at all. So you have to go back to that door that's open, activate it again, and then you'll be fine. It will open and then close again. That happened about 3 or 4 times during my playthrough, and I forgot. I forgot all about it until you've just said that, to be honest.
When you're playing a game where a lot of your progression is based around finding like DNA samples or whatever it is you need, or the upgrades to open doors, to get through locked doors that you've not actually been through, and then other doors what you have been through suddenly aren't functional, it really annoyed. I turned it off. I ain't been back. It's just I'd had enough. It really wound me up.
That's absolutely valid criticism, because I noticed that myself. So it's not like an isolated incident, and it happened several times. So I completely understand that. I'm not sure if that's something I should probably let the devs know about that, because it's such an obvious and easy fix, I would imagine, for them to do that. I played through. I finished it after the Quest 3 patch. It took me just over 5 hours, and I enjoyed it. I thought it's a good, solid game again. I think I enjoyed this far more than Vampire from what I've played so far in Vampire. And I guess it's partially the setting. I like the sci-fi setting. I like the alien isolation kind of aesthetic on the monitors and stuff like that. They've obviously gone for that kind of vibe with it. Yeah, go on.
I still think it's missing something. And I think it's the set. Are there any sort of big boss set pieces in it or anything like that?
Yes, yeah, there are. Yeah, there's a couple of big bosses that you'll come to. There's I think there's probably four big bosses.
Oh, right.
You'll notice one. Go on.
Sorry, I was just thinking. Like, there's one room. I was just thinking one room where I went into, and there was sort of a. I guess
Behind
you could.
glass.
I guess you could call it a boss fight. I don't know.
Is it? Oh, actually, is it in the shower room or something? Yes, yeah. So, I'd class that as the first boss fight.
Oh,
really.
right, okay.
But you've got better ones than that.
I was going to say, yes, I guess I would class that as a boss fight, but it still wasn't. It wasn't on anything of a grand scale or, really more impressive than anything else I'd seen. So
no, I think that's the thing. I think with this, and I think it's a good game and it's solid, and I enjoyed it all the way through.
Yeah.
But I think the spectacle is something, and maybe you're right. Yeah, the set pieces. Maybe it's that's lacking in this. You do have like a big boss fight at the end, but it's not really. I mean, that one to me, it's not challenging. It's a bit more of a spectacle, and you've got other ones in between that are a bit more of a spectacle as well. But I think it's a bit generic. That's what I'd say. This game is a bit generic sci-fi, and they could have done with just a little bit more spectacle in certain areas. I think, I think you're absolutely bang on with that. To be honest,
it kind of feels like with these patches, because I think they're already working on another patch, aren't they? It feels like the base game was more early access than an actual finished game, and now they're adding stuff to flesh it out. And it's like, I get that sometimes, a developer maybe can't wait until they need to start selling a product, but it definitely feels like it came out a bit too early, maybe.
Maybe.
I just can't be bothered to go back to it. But it's not. It's not a bad game. This is it. It's not a bad game. It just feels, I don't know, not quite finished.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend this, to be honest. For me, I do think I'd say it's a solid. I mean, we don't really give review scores or anything like this, and I put maybe like 7 out of 10. I would say for this one, because I think it's the setting. I think this is the thing. There's so many like nuances in what people like in games, and I do like this setting. I just do, and I think that's a big part of it for me. And I can accept there's criticism to be said for like the enemy AI and stuff. There's not a lot going on in the enemy AI, and it's really exploration. You're exploring this base, but that's sort of enough for me. I
think for me, it needs to feel like there was an extra threat somewhere out there, like when you're playing Alien Isolation, which is obviously big budget games, but it was that ever present threat and not quite knowing. It added that tension. And
There's one small section in this game where I think they're trying to lean into that. You'll go through one area where, and I won't give any spoilers, but I think that's probably what they were trying to do. But it's literally like a 10-minute section. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Anyway, it's if you're a Quest only gamer, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. I think, but if you Quest PSVR 2 and PC or whatever. I don't know. But
I think it's coming out on PC as well, actually.
Oh, it is, yes.
Yeah.
I think you're right, yes, yeah. Well, that'll be interesting to see if they can bump the visuals up at least.
Yeah.
But onto something completely different. Lee, PowerWash Simulator VR.
Yeah, I don't really know as I can tell people about this much. If you've played the game on PC, it's been out quite a few years, hasn't it? And you're just using the mouse, really, to use your power washes, clean things. You're basically in VR, and you're just using the controller to move up and down and left and right to clean everything. But the video you've seen now is from PD, so thanks, PD, for letting me use your clip, because, to be honest, I wasn't in long enough to record a video. It's not really my thing, and I know PD loves it, and he spent like 12 hours cleaning some sort of fountain. But I mean, we spoke briefly to Gary about it before we started, saying... I don't know if it's my ADHD or what, but you think something like this would be quite therapeutic for me, but instead I start thinking about other things I should be doing instead of playing this, which is probably a little unfair on the game, really, but it's like a direct port from PC to VR. Now, the resolution wasn't the greatest, when I first tried it, but I used Quest Game Optimizer and used their profile, and it looked really sharp and clean. But I can't really say I played much of it. I just did the bits where I got to the van, which is maybe cleaning your own van. And it was a little confusing with, you got like a belt system where you were, pulling all different attachments off and trying that. So that would take a little bit of getting used to. But yeah, I think it's done well enough for VR. How they've converted it from flat screen to this. And I don't really know much more to say.
I just don't understand the whole concept. To me, this looks entirely like a mechanic that should be in another game. And instead, they've just made an entire game out of it. And people seem to be loving it. And it's one of those things I look at and think, again, I think, is the world just going insane?
I know, but like PD says, it's Game of the Year so far. And I know I can hear Gary giggling then. But it's like, I'm exactly, I don't understand all the big thing for it, but I mean, like I say, there's definitely an audience for it. I was speaking about, they have lawnmower simulators and all sorts, House Flipper and all that. My missus got like 400 hours in House Flipper and those type of things.
Yeah. I was saying before, though, as well, there is that episode of The Simpsons where they're going to a convention and then you've got these kids in VR headsets back, and this is an old episode. Yeah. So they're in VR headsets doing garden work simulator. And that's what this is. Literally, it's that. And Look, I understand. People have tried to explain it to me because it's like the little endorphin rush where you get cleaning stuff, but it is the epitome of wasting time.
Cleaning stuff.
I don't know. I can sort of understand the satisfaction of making something nice and shiny.
Or should I say, PD, if you're listening, if you love cleaning stuff, come round, mate. I'll introduce you to my kitchen. Right?
But yeah, I mean, I think that this is like to me, it's just, it feels, if I was playing this, it would feel too much like I'm wasting my life. And that's how I feel. And I know, look, I'm not having a go at anybody because there's loads of people that love this. Yeah. Even the flat game, there's loads of people that really enjoy it as well. So I'm honestly not having a go. It's just not something I'd do. And people wouldn't do some of the stuff I do probably. So
I was talking to a mate of mine. I was saying, "Oh God, that PowerWash game, what's on Steam? They've done it in VR. I don't get it." And all I got was some sudden silence. And he went, "Yeah, I played that." It's like, oh my God, what is going on? It's,
I mean, I do want to thank the dev for sending me a key out for it. I'm not ungrateful in that regard, but it's not really my thing. I think it's like 20 quid maybe.
Yeah.
But obviously use a referral code if you can get one from anywhere. I don't know if I've mentioned referral codes before, probably not, but
PowerWash Simulator VR, 20 quid from Future Lab. If it,
if you like the flat screen version, then this will be bang up your alley, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But, oh dear. Anyway, moving on. I noticed a few weeks back there was sort of like a new patch that dropped for Gran Turismo 7, and I'd not been back into it for ages. So I thought I'd bung it on and have a go. Oh, that was it. The snow levels. I couldn't remember what was in it then until the video came up. Yeah. So I went back in and had a blast, and it's like it's been a while since I've played anything in PSVR 2 that's got reprojection, and Gran Turismo has always been sort of one of those games that gets away with it because you're not artificially turning using the stick, and you're sort of mainly generally focused forwards. And the reprojection never really bothered me before, but going back into it now, it's like I don't know whether I can cope with it anymore, even on this, because Gran Turismo 7 and Synapse were two games that I could let it slide because I enjoyed the game so much, and with GT7, like I say, you don't notice it as much. It is there if you just turn your head so you're looking sort of like 90 degrees out of a side window. You can blatantly see the reprojection, but when you're just looking straight ahead, where there's not as much sort of movement going past you at speed, you don't notice it as much. It just made me sad that this just doesn't run at a native frame, 90 frames a second, locked at 90 hertz sort of thing. It would be such a transformative experience if they could push it to that level. But I think I'm done with GT. It just made me sad. It really did.
I was considering picking GT7 up at some point. I don't know if it's in the current sale, like the Black Friday sale.
There is some off it, but I can't remember. It's still, I don't know if it's still 30 or 40 quid or something.
Yeah, it's one of the things, and I do want to play it with my racing wheel, but that's sort of set up, and I can't. It's not easy to move to where my PS5 is or anything. So that's what's really putting me off picking this up. Because when I went round PDs and tried the PSVR 2, I did think it was. I felt when I played it, it was good enough. The resolution wasn't super high, but I felt like it was good enough, and the reprojection didn't bother me at that time anyway. So yeah.
It's I think reprojection, or I should say, I think frame rate is the most important. Native frame rate is the most important thing for me. I can live with sort of softer looking visuals as long as the frame, up to a point, obviously.
Yeah.
As long as the frame rate is sort of like a native frame rate, not reprojected. But it comes back to the whole sort of Resident Evil 8 thing again. I'll just briefly mention that. After getting the graphics card, I downloaded. Somebody had mentioned on Discord about the Resident Evil 8 mod for PC, and that it worked with the demo. I thought, oh, okay. So I downloaded the demo, downloaded the VR mod, put it on, and oh, good grief! It annihilates the PSVR 2 version visually. Yeah. It's just so good. It's not even the visuals; it's just getting rid of that flipping reprojection. But then again, the visuals as well on top were just it looks absolutely incredible.
Have you tried the Resident Evil 7 one as well? Because I mean, presumably that's a little bit easier to run. Because I tried that, the mod version of that. I am really impressed with that, and that's a Prey Dog. I think they're both Prey Dog mods, aren't they? The Resident Evils.
I don't know if I've got. I don't know if I've got Resi 7 on PC or not, or is there a demo still? I have no idea.
I don't know, but that runs really well.
Yeah,
and looks great.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
The thing is, the demo, the Resi 8 demo on mine it literally ran flawlessly. It was flawless. There was no reprojection. I couldn't see any problems with the frame rate. But that's just a demo, and it was just the interior scenes I was looking at. So whether that holds up when you're outside, maybe, or whatever, I've no idea. I mean, you can. Last time when I looked after playing the demo, you can pick it up for £9. But I've been in that much of a sort of I just really can't be bothered sort of state. I just didn't even pick it up for £9, and I should do really. Just to try it out.
The full game?
The full game on PC, yeah, you can get it for £9.
I need to get that as well then.
I didn't know
I'm same as Gary. I played Resi 7. I think when I played it though, there was some sort of shadow glitch or something. It was bringing it to like a mesh, like a crisscross mesh on the shadows. But I know it's been fixed since then. Yeah, and when you're in the house at that, it's amazing.
It was. I think it was £9 for just the normal version, or something like £13 for the deluxe version. I can't remember whether that was CD keys or instant gaming. One of the two. But yeah,
I'll have to check.
It's
because I mean, there's a big sale on it at the minute anyway on Steam, isn't there? So there's quite a few games knocking about on there.
I really should do. Yeah. Hey, Prey Dog are running out. He's running out of time to get that UE VR mod out for this year.
Right. Did you guys see the tweet that the bloke that's been like putting all the clips out on YouTube? I apologise, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Waifu Enjoy.
Yeah, something like that. I think he put a tweet out the other day. I think he lives in Milton Keynes. He won't mind me saying that because he actually put that on his tweet. Yeah. Did you see it where he said he wanted people to go around it and try the UE mod, and he wanted to video them and get the reactions and things like that? So I mean, I don't know. I think it's got quite. I don't know how many people it's got going, but it's like a 2-hour drive.
Maybe that's a prelude for it getting launched. Then, if they want a video,
well, that's what I was thinking. Maybe get these people around, get this video out, and then Christmas time. There you go, knock yourself out, have some fun.
Just to say as well, on Steam, even just straight on Steam, it's 60% off at the minute. Resident Evil Village, so it's £13.19. Oh. So even if you want to get it directly there,
bargain. I just had another thought. Oh, that was it, because he was showing the video of it was that Aliens. I can't remember the name. That Alien game what came out a while back. That Elite.
Oh yeah. What was that called?
Oh, I can't remember. Whatever it was. But it was showing that in first person in VR, and he'd basically gone into the mod, hadn't he? Set up a few things, so he'd not even spent much time doing it. But like, yeah, click this option, click that option, and he was in like first person with motion controlled gun.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
wow.
they're just refining it, aren't they? Really now, trying to get it easy as possible to get like gamepad simulation in it or motion controllers. I think they are refining all that is to be as easy as possible.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Like they're going to get motion controller support in some of these games, maybe not all of them, but I mean that's ridiculous. So yeah, it's Fireteam Elite. Fireteam Elite. Yeah. Yes. Just to all of this stuff, it's going to provide so much value. This could give a real boost to PC VR.
It needs it. It absolutely needs it. But that Fireteam Elite, I don't think it's actually a first-person game natively, is it? I'm sure it's.
I think it's like a top-down kind of
sort of third-person type thing. Yeah, and this lets you play it in first person. Incredible.
Yeah.
I just hope that does actually land this year, because it's like, PC VR needs a boost, and I think this is its only hope at this point. It's getting ridiculous.
Well, I mean, you're on about PC VR. Even I don't think I've touched any, really. Since I've got the Quest 3, I might have gone into Half-Life Alyx to see what that looks like, and just tested the usual things that I test, but I've been more interested in standalone, which is not like me for a start, but because the games are coming out of standalone and they're not coming out on PC VR.
This is a bit of a problem I've been having. I mentioned before we started. It's like I'm getting into a bit of a rut in that I've absolutely nothing against mobile VR, but it's getting to the point where it seems to be mobile VR all the time. And I absolutely now I need something AAA as. PC AAA quality, not mobile AAA quality, shall we say?
That ain't coming. That's the problem.
No,
it's
this is a problem.
Where's it coming from?
Yeah. Well, that Prey Dog mod. It's the only hope we've got for it. It really is.
It's the only hope I've got for doing Hogwarts Legacy and getting through those rings in a decent time with motion controllers, because I'm absolutely awful. I had to get my daughter to do that, Rog. I could not get through those rings. Just to do those few tasks, I was garbage at that. Yeah.
Wow.
I think the motion controller support is the thing that is like the most impressive to me. I mean, the whole thing is impressive, but to get that in some of the games would make such a difference. Because
you can sort of understand, for first person, they've moved the sort of the camera where it's rendered to the actual sort of character. But when that game doesn't even have any sort of remotely any sort of motion control support. It's like, how the heck do they do that? It is impressive. It's absolutely very impressive.
Plus, I mean, you're going to be getting a lot of guides showing you how to set this up, a lot of probably for specific games as well.
Yeah.
And what settings to get and what best tweaks to make with it. Because it's going to be one of those that you tweak. Like Luke Ross's mod. If people are used to Luke Ross's mod, it's something that you do tweak to get it set up right for you.
Yeah. But anyway, talking about sort of AAA stuff, or not maybe, who knows. Assassin's Creed Nexus. This has been the big one. We've been waiting for this for, how long?
Right, strap yourselves in, everyone. I'm just going to get a quick drink, so you guys keep talking while I just sneak off.
So, Assassin's Creed Nexus finally came out, as we all know. Ubisoft, 40 quid. Okay, so I'll go from the start. And the first time I booted this up, I wasn't expecting anything. And then I loaded the game up, and it puts you in that 3D sort of mixed reality interface, where it actually fades out the background and sort of colour grades it to sort of like that. It's like a bluish, blue sort of look. So it sort of pushes your room into the background and makes the interface front and centre. And I was like, oh wow. It really grabbed me. This is what games should do. They should do something to spark that interest straight away. And this did it. It's like, whoa, this is neat. And I was at that point, I was impressed. And then the game starts, and you're talking to the characters, and basically you've been hired to be like a sort of almost double agent, aren't you? You're going to get hired by somebody else, but somebody else has hired you to be on their side. Anyway. Yeah. And then there's a woman, and she gets up and she walks around, and you can instantly see, hang on a minute, this looks like PSVR 2 reprojection.
It does, yeah.
Oh, is this
exactly
a blurry
like
woman?
That. Yeah.
When I said to you,
exactly like,
because the game kept crashing for me, and I said to you guys on Discord, I've got as far as the blurry woman, and it crashes.
And so it's like, uh-oh. And then the game starts and it's like, oh, well, I'm not seeing the reprojection, that double image reprojection here, so that's okay. And you start walking through the first level, through the tutorial level, and I can instantly see that this is not holding a solid frame rate. Now, this is reprojecting from 45 FPS up to 90 frames a second, 90 hertz, 90 frames a second. And when it works, when there's no frame pacing problems, it works. Now, I'm always I've always said that frame rate reprojection should not be used to make a game run. It should be there as the fallback. I'm kind of into. I'm getting torn about this because I sort of go back to Grid Legends, which I was one of the few people who actually sort of liked it. Now the graphics on Grid Legends absolutely suck. They are bad. But that game was running at 36 frames a second, reprojected to 72, and I never even noticed at first. I didn't even realise. It was only when I started seeing the occasional artifact on a vehicle every now and then that it made me question it, and that's when the sort of like people started saying, "Oh yeah, this is running at a reprojected frame rate," but it can be done. You know, you can get away with it if it's done well enough. If the actual base frame rate is solid and does not waver. And with Assassin's Creed, that is not the case. And I could see it pretty much most of the time. And this is a big problem. You know, the other thing with the sort of, is reprojection acceptable? I was listening to a Digital Foundry podcast a while back now. And people were arguing about on PC, the whole frame rate generation, you know, fake frame generation sort of thing, what's coming along with DLSS and whatever, where PC is basically interpolating frames to generate fake frames to get a higher frame rate. And as John Lineman put it, any image you see rendered on your screen is a fake frame. It's just a matter of how that frame's being rendered or created, you know, because every frame rendered, it doesn't exist. Your PC is generating it. And if you can't tell the difference between, let's say, a genuinely rendered frame and a fake interpolated frame, if you can get to the point where you can't see the difference, then, well, genuinely, it doesn't matter. If you can't tell, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I'm on the side that if I can't tell if it's been interpolated, then that's fine, and it doesn't matter if it's using it. But I don't know. I feel a bit of a hypocrite. But then again, you know, you go through life and you change your mind, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah. But that's the thing with this. If you remember back when the Rift first launched, everybody was talking about native frame rates. You can't use reprojection or it was asynchronous time warp at that time. It was always used as a safety net. That's what they said.
Yeah, it was a crutch.
Only used a safety net. Now, what they did when ASW 2.0 came out, they actually lowered the minimum requirement for PC from a 970 to a 960 because at that point they said it's good enough to lean on all the time. And to me, that's when they had the big change in Oculus. Now, PSVR, you look at PSVR, the original ran all the time in reprojection. Most games ran in reprojection. And there's two different discussions with Assassin's Creed. First of all, I mean, I'm with you that I think that native frame rate is always the preferable choice. If you can't do that, then reprojection, whatever form it takes, is the second best choice in that. And the discussion that I want to have, and I feel like I need to be really clear about this because I've had to mention this several times on Reddit threads and on Twitter where I've got involved in conversations about this. What I'm talking about, when I criticise Assassin's Creed in this discussion, it's got nothing to do with reprojection. If it was smooth and consistent, I'd be perfectly happy to accept a game of this scope if it was consistent reprojection and there was minimal stutters. I'd accept stutters occasionally. Nothing is perfect, but this is consistently stuttering all the time, and I don't understand why people. I mean, I don't understand why this is not mentioned in reviews. That's the first thing, and I'm not having a go at anybody that has done a review on this because when I think about it, I was thinking, if you're somebody that does review games, it's not inconceivable to think that every time you go into VR, you're recording footage, literally every time on every single game. And there's certain games where you're recording footage, especially if you're increasing bitrate or increasing the just the quality of the recording, especially in Quest 3. There are certain games that are just going to stutter all the time. And it might just be that they didn't know that this was any different because they're recording all the time. So there was no conscious knowledge that this is actually any different from any other game. Yeah. But if you play it without recording and it's stuttering to this level, I think that's a big problem. Yeah. And to me, I do get a little bit annoyed that this hasn't been mentioned as much as I think it should have been, especially when, and I know I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but when the Ubisoft have employed all of these comfort options, you think, fantastic, what a great developer for employing this. Frame rate is the number one thing that is going to make people sick. Yeah. And they've let this go, presumably. I mean, I don't know. There's discussions around the Quest 2 not being as bad, and it's like a bug in the Quest 3 and stuff. I don't know.
Well, one of the developers actually tweeted out the other day, didn't they, saying that they're aware of the issue that people are having.
Well, that tweet was from a Meta engineer. Right, okay. So what that engineer was, he's saying that this might potentially be a bug in application space warp, or it could be, I mean, what they're hoping for is that this is simply trying to render too high. The resolution scaling is too high on the Quest 3 to hold frame rate. But when you look at people that have used Quest Games Optimizer or other methods to lower the resolution and it doesn't remove it, then you wonder if there's something else going on in the application space warp algorithm or something like that. That's what they were implying anyway, this Meta engineer. So
because I went in and lowered the resolution and also knocked it down. I even knocked it down to 72 hertz as well.
Yeah, that's what I did.
To try and see if that would help. And at points it kind of felt like maybe it was a bit better overall ish. But not really. Yeah, no, it was still there. It was basically, it was still there. It was still doing it.
You can still see it.
Yeah, and I just don't get it. I know there was one quite high profile, I'd say, review that mentioned basically went like loved the game, went all the way through it, and then one point went, I did notice some stuttering, and then that was it. Wasn't mentioned again. One of the few credible discussions I've heard about this is actually on Virtual Strangers. They really went in depth on it. I think Wes actually called it at one point, and now I don't think Roots actually really enjoyed the game, but he put his view out there that he doesn't like. He's not a stealth game sort of fan. He doesn't like melee combat, and he doesn't really like stealth games. So that's fine. That's a personal preference. It's like that'd be like me trying to review a football game. It's just I'd just never enjoy it. So that's fine. Eric, whose opinions I generally always take at face value because if he doesn't like something,
he speaks his mind.
He speaks his mind. He, like I've said before, he's like Rantony 2.0. But he didn't seem to have a problem with it, with the frame rate. Now Wes did, and he literally called it immersion breaking.
Yeah.
But they still enjoyed the game, and I think this is the problem here because. I wanted to go in. I really wanted to play the game. I could see there was a game here I actually wanted to play. But every time I tried, I could not get past the inconsistent frame rate pacing, and it wasn't large drops. It was maybe 2 or 3 frames, but it was happening a lot, and it was obvious, and it was constant. And I couldn't get past it. It's like reprojection on PSVR 2. It's so obvious to me. It ruins the game. I just can't do it. At least for most of the time. As like say the exceptions on, like I say, with Synapse or Gran Turismo in the past, where I could get past it. But for like 99% of the stuff, I can't. And this is that same thing. I'm visually aware of it all the time. I just can't forget about it.
You know what annoys me with it, right? And I'm not singling any VR content creator out or any person specifically, but if I have a problem with a game when I see it, I get quite a lot of feedback on it's my fault, it's something I'm doing, it's a mobile chipset, what do you expect, your Quest 3's faulty. But I think, well, I don't say to you if the game's running right, I don't give you any comments. I don't say, well, actually, no, it's not. So what are you doing? Because there's something you're doing wrong, because it's not right for me, so it can't be for you. So why aren't you seeing this? Or, I mean, I don't have a go at other people who say it's running fine and it's the game of the year. But because I bring something up, all three of us have had this problem, and a lot of other people have as well.
Many people have.
I'm being the bad guy by calling something out, and we need more AAA developers doing games like this. It's like this, we don't.
It's ridiculous. The thing is, different people perceive things differently. And for some people, it's like, I've talked about this before, I've known people in the past who, on flat screens, a 30 frames a second game is perfectly fine and it's perfectly smooth. And I know at least one person who can't tell the difference unless you put literally two monitors together and run one thing at 30, one thing at 60, at which point he goes, oh yeah, I can see the difference there. If it doesn't bother you, that's absolutely fine, but it doesn't mean the problem isn't there for other people.
Well, that's the best way to be as well. And obviously some people are not seeing this. Like you mentioned on Virtual Strangers, Eric says he sees the stutter, but it's minor. Everything is minor. And people have said this, like, you accept a bit of stutter for this kind of a game. Yeah. Well, my point with that is really, as I mentioned, I'm fully willing to accept a game like this running in constant reprojection. Of course, it needs to. There's no way it could run in native frame rate on a mobile platform.
Yeah.
But the difference is the application space warp is there by design. A developer has chosen to lean on that to make their game run on this mobile platform. What no developer is doing is saying, okay, now what we're going to do is going to include some stutters every now and again. Yeah. That's not by design. That's the difference, and that's the only part I'm complaining about. And it's not nitpicking. This is not nitpicking. If you go back, frame rate is the number one priority for VR in most people going back, and it feels like that's changing. It feels like frame rate is no longer the number one priority, and I don't think this should be the case at all. I think that native frame rate ideally, if not, then sure, lean on reprojection is the second best option, but consistency has always got to be the most important thing regardless, and that's what we're losing in this. And we've not spoken about the game yet, because I do want to say I did not expect Ubisoft to put this amount of effort into this game. What they've done here is actually pretty incredible. There's no way I expected it to be like this.
No.
And there's plenty to criticise it in terms of jank and some of the gameplay mechanics and stuff. But regardless of all of that, I've got to say I'm really, really impressed with the amount of effort.
The sort of scope for a mobile game is impressive.
Yeah.
And it's like I say, it's like I really wanted to go back in, and I tried going back in a couple of times because I desperately wanted to play it.
I'm exactly the same as you with it. I really wanted to play. I mean, I just want to say, like, Rog did gift me this, and I was really pleasantly surprised and really appreciative of that, so much that I actually refunded it and gave him the game back. But it's just, I can't get past it, and that's really annoying for me. I had some issues with the control, some of the gripping. I think there's one part you have to, we spoke about this, right, Gary? You have to sort of really push down with your controllers as if you're jumping quite high, and then like try and grip and grab again. And you told me, ignore what the game says, just do it one-handed at a time to get up. But I just couldn't get past that part. That was really annoying me. And some of the combat, I mean, I've been playing Dungeons of Eternity, where it's got like the best combat in VR I think I've ever seen. And to go from that to, hold your sword this way while they slowly attack you, and then move it to the right because they're going to pivot and move and attack you there, and then slice them back. And I just like the combat wasn't great. But I'll go with Gary again. When I loaded it up, some of the areas are spectacular looking.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic.
It's like everybody says, it's like, we just weren't expecting something to look like this on a mobile chipset. It's like they've done an incredible job there. It's just that, it's that inconsistency on the frame rate.
I mean, they've gone big. They've gone big time with it.
It feels like that. It's almost. Sort of like, how can we keep harping on about this? But it's almost there.
Yeah,
it's not like it's running at like 10 frames a second and it's like an absolute joke or anything like that. It's almost there. It's just like this small inconsistency that it's just,
And the problem is, like people will say, well, there you go. It's a small inconsistency. It's just little stutters here and there. Therefore, you've just got to get over it. The problem is that when it ruins immersion and it's constantly there in your face, and it's just constantly annoying. So, and then people will say, you've got to, well, this is the price of getting AAA games on mobile platform. Well, look, if this is the cost, I'm sorry, but they need to cut back the game a little bit then. That's all it comes down to.
I would have liked some sort of option, PS5 style. We've said it before 1,000 times. Some of the details on this. I mean, I was talking to some woman come to meet me, all the women loving me, just like real life. When it's appeared at this village. And I was like obsessed with how good a dress looked. It had got the reflections, the shadows, the lighting. It was so detailed. And I'm thinking, just give her a plain red dress. You know what I mean? Just give her that extra couple of frames. It was like some sort of Egyptian robe thing she got on. But
the weird thing is that some people are reporting that Quest 2 runs
better.
okay. It runs better. Which would imply that it's something. I mean, it will be interesting because to prove that this isn't just nitpicking or just us moaning about this, there's been multiple threads on Reddit about this. You look at the reviews on, it's not like nobody is talking about this, just random people who have reviewed this on the Oculus, the mobile app. You can filter, you can see that people are complaining. Initially, there was two things they were complaining about. They can't grab, which apparently is a bug with the calibration initially.
Eric had that problem,
Yeah, or they're complaining about stuttering. And the fact is, now we've got a meta engineer that has said in this tweet, I've got this in front of me now, he said that, so David Heaney asked, any idea why many are reporting Assassin's Creed Nexus running smooth on Quest 2 but stuttering on Quest 3? And this engineer, Neil Bedecker, he's a meta engineer, and he said, sure. So he put, number one, huge priority for us to solve ASAP. Me and my team are on it. Number two, I don't have a Quest 3 for a few days, and he's asking for some metrics, basically, that someone can provide him to get to the bottom of it. So at least they're acknowledging this. And sometimes when you start discussing this in various forums, you start to feel like you're being gaslit. Like, people say, there is no problem. What are you talking about? And I'm thinking, well, there's blatantly a problem, and either there's differences in hardware or there's differences in firmware, or this is affecting everybody and some people are just not noticing it. And look, here's the thing, not like you mentioned, Rog, there's perception on everything. Not all of us notice the same things about all of these VR games. So I'm not blaming anybody for not seeing it, but I think that it definitely is a problem.
I mean, it's demonstrably a problem as well. You just load up the OVR metrics tool. I'd love somebody to load up OVR metrics running at the default thing. Don't change anything, running at the default resolution, or even knock it down, maybe even knock the resolution down a bit, and record a video and show me a perfect time graph where it's not dropping frames, because it's not going to happen.
So this section was actually one of the better running sections, but you see what's happening here, that line on the graph that I'm showing in this video, again, it's going to be really small to see, but it's supposed to be like a constant solid line, and it's jumping up and down all the time. And again, if I was moving faster through this level, you'd see that there will also be certain spikes and stuff. Now, I mean, it's difficult to really do this because when you're recording, it affects it and all this kind of stuff, so it's difficult to really get an accurate image of all of this stuff. But well,
I could definitely see it there. Well, that bit, I mean, that's quite impressive little part, like you start in the tutorial, that looks really pretty. And then when we go, like I said, when you go to see your sister, something like that, in the town square, there's lots of NPC. I mean, it's really populated. They've done really well populating it with NPCs, but it's there. It's like every 6 steps virtually in Ezio's making, I got this tiny little micro stutter. I got one where one of the side vendors, he actually jumped in the air a little bit, and I was like, this is, are people saying they can't see it? Like you say, it's just a perceivement thing where, I mean, Middle I spoke to him, he said he's 3 hours in game and not seeing one single stutter.
I don't get it. It's like, it's like some of the comments you get as well. It's like, well, it's a mobile chipset, you should expect it to be janky. It's like, well, no.
Well, no, I don't.
There's plenty of other games out there that run just like flawlessly. Because
I don't know whether it's like, going from dungeons without, I mean, I don't want to keep talking about dungeons because I'm like a bit of a dungeons fanboy, but how smooth that runs. And then going from that to this.
But look, this is doing something probably visually more impressive than most games out there. Yeah, so it's intensive, but it's so close to running. It is so close to running flawlessly.
If they get this thing sorted out, I'd happily play it. I was like Rog. I kept going in, wanted to play it, getting annoyed at little things and coming out. And I probably should have just persevered with it, because I've been told like the first 2 hours is basically a training mission anyway, and after that it gets really good. The game itself, but visually, stunning.
And there's been a lot of people have been saying that it gets better later on.
Yeah. But what I would say is that with regards to this stuttering stuff, I just think it's more about the threshold that everybody will have. It's like you're supposed to accept it, because to get this level of game on a mobile platform, you've got to put up with this level of stuttering. And I'd say, well, why not push it out even further, get more stuttering? Everybody's going to have a point where it's going to hit them and say, this is too much stuttering. And for some people, it's lower than it is other people. I guess that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, but I've said this multiple times in the past. It goes back to when the DK1 was first being shown and demoed, and they always used to push out that you cannot. It was their mantra. You cannot drop a single frame in VR. Yeah. They were so focused on performance, and it just feels like nowadays nobody cares.
It's just because I wanted it to be so good as well. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a massive Assassin's Creed follower, but I did play Assassin's Creed 2 when it came out on the Xbox 360, and then my daughter was really young. She's not going to thank me for saying this, by the way, but I think she'd be like 3 or 4, and she used to hand me my Xbox control going, Assassin's Creed, Daddy, Assassin's Creed. So I used to play that, for my 3-year-old daughter watching. And the story and the gameplay of, Assassin's Creed 2 is fantastic. And I do appreciate them trying to get something along those lines to give that feeling of those games, and you're actually being there as well. I mean, some of the parkour stuff and the jumping across buildings is great, but it's just that tiny thing that hopefully they'll fix, and then I can get back in it, because I can't get past that, unfortunately. It's just me. I can't get past it.
Absolutely. I desperately want them to sort it. Because this literally could possibly be the best game on Quest. If it, and I think some people are already calling it that, but for me, it's like, if the performance isn't solid, consistently solid, then it wrecks the game.
I think from a gameplay point of view, so I've played about 2 hours of it so far, and I mentioned like this section that I'm showing now, I recorded this and I was just going through, and I had a great time just going around.
I mean, it looks really good while I'm watching.
Yeah,
I'm getting annoyed.
It's really open, and you can really like do the Dishonored thing with this as well, and that's what I wanted from Vampire. So this is delivering that better, and I had a great time in there. If it wasn't for the stuttering, but just on the gameplay quickly to just say a few negative things, because I do think there's so much to like about the game as a whole. I do think like the combat, as you mentioned, Lee, I just feel like that's too gamified. It's like they're taking everything, every piece of agency away from the player to do that. It's fine, it's serviceable, and you expect it from this.
It just doesn't feel natural, right? It doesn't feel like a natural fight when you're fighting him with the sword. I mean, the sneaking around stuff's good, but when you got the sword,
you do get other weapons later on. You get
you get bows and things, though, and knives, throwing knives in that. But the sword stuff I didn't enjoy. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the melee. Yeah, the melee combat.
Which has always been a problem in VR, isn't it? It's always it's how far do you go one way or the other.
I think Blade and Sorcery, I mean, I know that's sort of probably the extreme, but to me that is, it gives you it's like the difference, somebody described this on Reddit actually, the combat in this, it's like the difference between Thriller the Fight and Creed, where, sorry, I'm going to have to call, where you've got this perfect agency, it is like really immersive, and you are playing, you are boxing somebody in VR. It's like a real immersive area like experience, but then you've got Creed, which is more gamified, and they're trying to make more of a game around it, take agency away, take immersion away, but make it more of a fluid gameplay experience. And I feel that's what they've done here, which is is probably what I expected anyway. But and I don't want to, this is the thing, if they got rid of that stutter, I would be really, really positive on this, because Ubisoft.
I think we'd be raving over it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I mean, another little thing that maybe I am nitpicking at is the game. It does take a while to load up, but I don't want to sign into Ubisoft servers. I don't want to sign in that go, or maybe in 50 years' time, I don't want to sign in to Ubisoft servers. So can we have a little button what says, do not show this startup again, so I can click on it and just get rid of it? That's just an extra thing that annoyed me before I even start the game. Yeah. I mean, it's like 5 seconds to just put skip, but, that's me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to forgive all of that kind of stuff. I know what you mean, definitely.
I mean, if these problems, if you played stuff in the past where the frame rate has been, or we've played something and said, the frame rate's not great, we don't like it, and you've disagreed with us, then you might find this to be one of the best games there is out there.
Yeah.
But it's...
Well, somebody put, didn't they? Somebody put on a review, and I sent it to you, and then me and Gary are like, this is exactly what it is. I can't remember his name. He just put, no, there is some, quite serious frame drops and micro stuttering, but if you can get past that, it's a fantastically brilliant game.
Yeah. And that's, Yeah, it really is.
It's, it's true. It is AAA. I mean, for a mobile platform, this is as close as I think we're going to get to AAA for a while. I mean, we've got Asgard's Wrath and stuff like that. I think I'm excited for Arizona Sunshine 2. All these games seem to be coming out at the same time. But to me, this is what I would expect from a AAA game, and it's just really disappointing that you just. Yeah. And something's not right. If meta engineers are working on this and saying that it's not right, then it's not right, It's
also like the kind of hush it underneath the carpet thing in case we scare AAA devs off from making VR games. Well, why would it do that? I mean, you want them to get it right, and so you've got something decent to play.
The problem is, if people don't call this stuff out, then it's going to become the norm. It's like, well, we don't need to put the effort in to get it running right, so because people accept it. That's the thing. That's how it's going to be.
You hear this argument all the time as well, especially if you go on sort of the PSVR subreddit. There's people that will try to defend a bad release on there by saying, try to brush it under the carpet or something like that, just so you don't scare them away. It's like getting upgrades from the original PSVR. People on there will actually put, why would they bother when they got criticised for the original PSVR release? Why would they bother bringing it to PSVR 2? And you think, well, you would only criticise en masse certain things if there were things wrong, and you try and point out where they're doing stuff right, but you can't ignore something that is ruining the experience for you and potentially many other people as well. It's why
I spoke to someone. Sorry, Gary, carry on.
Well, no, I was just going to finish off. It's why I think it's important for this kind of issue to be mentioned in reviews, particularly, and again. Nothing. I understand if they've honestly not seen these stutters, or it's no different from other games that they're recording at the same time, because that's entirely possible, and they just didn't notice that this was an issue. So I'm not having a go at them for that. But I do think that it would be important to, if you do notice this and you play it without recording, it's still doing it, to bring it up in a review and mention it quite heavily, because comfort options are there, but this is going to affect people for motion sickness as well.
Definitely. I mean, I could tell. I mean, I am quite susceptible to motion sickness, and it definitely was walking through that town centre making me feel a bit queasy. But I'll just very quickly touch on, I was mentioning this to a friend who's I'm not going to mention his name, sorry guys, but he's very for this game, saying how fantastic it is and loving it, and I mentioned my problems with it and that, and tried to explain to him why it wasn't the greatest experience for me, and he replied with, just stick to golf. So I thought that was genius. So kind of like a passive aggressive response again, which did make me smile. So if the person is watching this and he knows you know who you are, I didn't take it in any offence, and I thought it was quite funny when he said that. So
but it did feel like how going insane with the whole positive, the amount of positivity over how well it people thought it ran, and I was like, what is going on? And I think virtual strangers were the first sort of sane voices in like a sea of insanity. So if you want more discussion, go and listen to theirs, because I think it was they had a well balanced discussion about it.
Yeah, because some of those, like Eric, really liked it and didn't have a big problem with the stutter, and then you had a bit of balance. I mean, Roots as well. I think he was just not a fan of this type of game.
He doesn't like melee stuff or stealth stuff. So
yeah, but it's good conversation, and we've been basically all on the same side here. So it's been very one-sided. We are aware of that, and it's going to annoy people that really like this game regardless. So look, it's only our opinion, and we're doing this as a hobby, so we've got no incentive to make stuff up or bash on the Quest 3 or anything like that, because in many ways this is a great game for the mobile platform. It's just if they could do something about that stutter.
I mean, I put a tweet out the other day which definitely irked people up the wrong way, and because of my fibro and stuff, sometimes I put things in the Discord and I'm like, oh dudes, I didn't mean it to sound like that, because I just don't realise what it's sounding like when I put it. So I put out the tweet saying, don't watch any review videos on YouTube. Go buy the game, and if it's happy for you and you're happy with it, then that's all that matters. And what I meant by that was, I kind of meant if someone's going into looking for reviews and looking forward to this game, and then the person who's reviewing it doesn't like it, don't let that put them off by saying, I'm not going to buy it then if they don't like it. That's what I wanted to try and get across, not the kind of some sort of the abuse that I did get with some of the retweets with it. I just want to apologise for that. I didn't mean that, how it sounded.
This is the good thing about the Meta Store, isn't it? It's like, buy the game, try it. If you don't like it, refund it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you can refund 5 games a month. Am I right with that?
I've no idea how it.
Are you limited to 5 games? I could be wrong, so maybe worth researching.
I've refunded a fair share of stuff, but I don't. It's not that often.
Dude, when I refunded this for you, and I said, look, thanks, Roy, but I just don't think I can get my head around it. And I refunded it, and literally, I got 2 emails at the same time saying your refund's gone through.
Yeah.
So I've never had a game refund so quick in my life.
Bizarre.
And I just want to finish off by saying, I know, because we've banged on basically almost entirely about the frame rate of this.
It's been a reprojection discussion on it rather than the game, but
it has, and I just, because I know sometimes when I listen back to some of the stuff I say, I know I can be a bit of a knobhead about this stuff, but I'm just trying to get this point across, which I think is important to some people. And look, if, as Rog said, I think earlier, if you're enjoying the game and you don't see the stutter, then you're winning. You're going to have a great time with this. So
yeah. Just as a bit of a side note, because I was listening to it the other day as well, and it actually goes back a few weeks. But did any of you guys see John Linneman's tweet going back a few weeks now? Digital Foundry. Do you watch Digital Foundry stuff?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I listen to the podcast anyway.
So a few weeks back, John Linneman put a tweet out saying, I've got a Quest 3. I can't believe how amazing wireless VR is. It's like, whoa. It's like that seemed to come out of nowhere, because they don't really cover VR very much. I mean, Ian Higton does on Eurogamer, but the Digital Foundry stuff, it's very rare sort of VR gets mentioned.
He covers it the most. John Linneman does.
No, so I put I tweeted a reply saying, "Oh wow," saying like, when somebody of your sort of experience in sort of like in gaming and sort of creating metrics and stuff, whatever, is suddenly surprised by this. I says it really hammers home to me how much of a niche sort of VR is. And he replied back saying, yeah, because this is the first time. He says, this is the first time I've owned a headset that's capable of doing wireless VR. On Digital Foundry, the current one, there's a 10-minute segment, and he goes on about a Quest again, and absolutely gushing over Quest 3. It's like, where did this come from? But it's like, this is really good, because we've got somebody who's fairly sort of high profile gaming wise, all of a sudden going on about how amazing Quest is. And he actually goes on about Assassin's Creed. He's played that. Initially, I think he was using it for wireless PC VR, but he's played Assassin's Creed, and he was impressed with it.
And didn't mention any stutters. That's the thing. I noticed that. I was listening.
No, he did. He did actually mention. Yeah, he did say. Okay. He didn't go on about it, but he did actually say, I did notice some stuttering.
Okay.
But he was sort of trying to cover sort of like the whole sort of, his VR experience as a whole within 10 minutes. But it seems Digital Foundry is like, he did mention that he's doing some sort of headset roundup for the new year. So, but with him being so positive on sort of wireless VR and Quest, it just came as a bit of a surprise. And it's like, because Ian Higton's always been pro VR on Eurogamer forever, hasn't he? He's the one of the few sort of like mainstream sort of people who constantly covers VR. And I thought, this could only be really good for the sort of like the VR scene. if John Linneman's getting into it. It might mean there's more metrics and stuff coming out on the VR sort of side.
He started talking about it quite a bit, John Linneman, and he's because he mentions about the PSVR 2 quite a lot. I think that was the main one that he was using, but now he's got the Quest 3. He's started talking about that.
Yeah.
I will say, if they were doing metrics on this game and looking at it, I think if it was a flat game, this would get slaughtered in terms of performance. That's the difference. It just would. But in VR, it's different, and they're not doing metrics on VR stuff at the moment. But hopefully they can maybe start to do that. And also, John Linneman was a big fan of the Pimax Crystal. He got sent that to try out and gave a review of that, and was a really big fan of that by all accounts. I don't think I've heard him talk about it, but I've not heard him the actual final review on that yet. So.
I entirely missed that.
Yeah,
I didn't realise.
I don't think he's mentioned it on the podcast, but there is a review. Yeah.
But I know he did. One of his comments was, now that he's used sort of wireless VR, he says it's so hard to go back to a wired headset. So he's a proper convert. To wireless.
I've got to say, like for stuff, most stuff, I'm okay. Like seated games, I'm okay with a wire. I've got to say, I'm of the opinion. This is why I bang on about the PSVR 2. Why I do, I do think it has to be there. It's fine, but it's not ideal. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, a wired headset still doesn't bother me, in all honesty. As long as I'm getting a good gaming experience, I don't care. I'm still at that point. But, not having to deal with a wire is sort of, it is sort of optimal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, thought I'd just mention that.
I mean, I could mention more things about Assassin's Creed, but I think Assassin's Creed's out now. I've had enough. I've had enough to talk about it. Never mind played it. Yeah,
it's fingers crossed they can fix that stutter, because if they
gives
can,
a bit of hope, doesn't it?
Yeah. If they can sort that out, there's something really special there, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's all we've been playing VR wise. So this, I don't know how old some of this probably news is now, given this was we were supposed to be talking about some stuff from a couple of weeks back. But Virtual Desktop got an update, which it's now got its own sort of OpenXR runtime called VDXR, which totally bypasses Steam VR, and people have been saying it's correct, that it can give a performance boost of up to about 10%. Using its own OpenXR runtime. I turned it on and tried playing something with it, and it seemed to play fine. But whether it was running better, I've no idea, because it was running fine anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, any free performance, give it to me, definitely.
Yeah, I suppose the news story of this is really just how great Virtual Desktop is. It's like an essential app, isn't it? It's like you get a mobile headset, you get a Pico 4, you get a Quest 3 or a Quest 2. Virtual Desktop should be among the first things you buy if you're even vaguely interested in PC VR. It's always top of the top sellers and stuff like this as well. So the amount of updates it gets and all these little additions, they've added like synchronous space warp, their version of ASW in there over the years. So fantastic app, and I'm looking forward to see what he comes up with next.
It's impressive that it keeps actually coming up with new bits and pieces to add to it, really. So Pico, anybody know really any massive? I've not followed this, other than that this apparently seem to be laying off a lot of their staff and going into some sort of self-destruct mode, judging by some of the recent tweets.
Oh man, I've seen it all. I mean, some of the tweets have been put out in the last couple of days. I know it says like hundreds of staff, but have they laid the entire social media team off and just I don't know who's putting these tweets out, but they need to really think. I'm not going to say it, but if you want to go and have a look, they put some tweet out about, was it playing Stride? Right, I can't remember, or some sort of game. It said, look, if you start to feel queasy while you're playing a game, don't drink this.
Don't bother with the ginger tea, wasn't it?
Don't bother with the ginger tea. Jump straight back in and start swinging around on this. I'm like, whoa, no. I know, tongue in cheek as it is, You can't put something out saying like that because somebody new to it, someone who's just picked up a headset yesterday, or will see that and go, "Oh, I feel sick," but they've said I can keep going through it, and it's going to make them worse, and they're never going to play VR again. So putting stupid things like that, and people telling them, "Look, you need to rethink what you just typed here because this is wrong," and they just totally ignored it. You know, and then they put another one out where I think it was playing After the Fall, and you've got to watch this, right? Go and watch this tweet where they put out two people playing After the Fall. I think one of the bloke is shooting his girlfriend in the back or something. He's playing VR near an open set of stairway, like literally 2 steps from it. And it's like, I know you don't generally move if you stood still, but I still move about, play walkabout mini golf, and you'll end up on the other side of the room without realising. I'm thinking, oh, so let's advertise playing next to open hazards. That's perfectly fine to go and play there. And it's just some of the tweets at the minute. I have no idea what they're doing at the minute. I have no idea at all.
Well, they laid off all of these staff, and I think laid off a few, but then they also sort of transitioned them over to a different side away from VR, basically as well. And then they've cancelled the rhythm game that they had, like a Beat Saber competitor as well.
Just Dance.
Just Dance as well. Well, that's a separate one as well.
Is that a different
That was
thing?
another one. It's a different one.
Okay. So I know nothing about this stuff. So.
So then they said that Just Dance they were funding it and it was going to be an exclusive, but now they've handed it over to a new partner by all accounts. So I think this has come from Ubisoft as well. Now we don't know who that partner is, but probably Meta or Sony, I would imagine. And then now we've got a sale, which is, honestly, this is, if you want to, whether you think that Pico are deciding to step away from sort of standalone consumer VR or not, the Pico 4 in the current sale is not a bad deal just for a PC VR headset, in my opinion. £250, I think it is, and you get... What else? You get extra editions as well.
I think you get Arizona Sunshine 2, I think Warplanes and Green Hell. So it's like 70 quid's, probably even more worth of games you get with it as well.
That is an insane price, really.
It is, yeah. But that further makes you think, are they just selling off stock of the Pico 4? Because all the signs, because this was a thing, did we mention it in the last podcast where there was these rumours or these reports coming out saying that Pico 4 is stepping away, and they denied it.
They did deny it.
But now it's all seems to be coming true based on the moves that they're making. But you don't know, do you? We'll see.
I hope not. I hope not, because we need some competition for Meta.
Yes,
I don't want to give Bars free reign of anything. I want him to have competition from somewhere else. And I love the Pico 4. Mentioned it several times. I had it a year ago, and for PC VR, it was definitely an upgrade from a Quest 2. The thing you've got now is the Quest 3 is an upgrade to the Pico 4. So, can I recommend, even at that price, if you are maybe just going for PC VR, it might be worth looking at. If not, if it is a standalone that you're interested in, then I'm still swayed towards saying Quest 3. At this moment in time. A year ago it was fantastic, but...
there was a tweet earlier on, I can't remember his name, but somebody tweeted out that he was moving jobs and going to work there as head of their user interface design or something. And I'm thinking, is that a good career move?
Yeah.
At this point, going to work for Pico, it's like...
You don't know, although they might be stepping away from VR for consumers, like as a Quest competitor, they might still be doing stuff with VR.
Commercial and enterprise sort of.
Yeah. You don't know. It's all...
Maybe it's the America thing, do you know what I mean? Because they can't get... It's not been sold in America. Perhaps that is damaged, I'm just speculating. It's just hearsay.
That must have really hurt them not selling over there.
Yeah, especially now you've got Meta partnering with Tencent and getting the Quest 3, it will be the Quest 3 Lite, won't it? I think.
In China.
To get that over in China. So it's not good. That is a massive market.
I hope they don't, because I really like Pico. I've said it before you're on about someone going over there to design the interface. That Rog, it's perfect as it is. That's the problem with Meta. And you get someone new in Meta and you press the settings button, it'll just blow their mind. Because there's 16 different options to click on once you click it.
It is all over the place. it's always a work in progress with Meta, in it all the time, and it'll get to a point where, you know, it's like with the Home, you know, they had Oculus Home, didn't they? And then they had the version in Oculus Go where you could actually sort of sit round and a character would appear from the game we were about to launch, and then you all jumped into that game. It was, you know, the different home environments, and they've all come and gone. It's like, you know, I'm surprised Horizon's lasted as long as it has. I'm still waiting for them to just abandon that. I just, it'll happen. It'll happen at some point. It's gonna.
No more Titanic for us then, Rog.
No, that's it. That one and only time.
When someone came up and asked if I was a girl or a boy. Yeah, legendary.
Don't matter, mate. Get on with it.
But yeah, what else we got? Oh, Bulletstorm. That's been delayed until January the 18th of next year. For more, I think they got put out the general statement again. What you always get, don't you, for extra polishing and making it better and all that sort of thing. It just makes me wonder if they've seen all the Assassin's Creed sort of things with like other performance hitches and stuff, and thought, like, let's sort that out. I hope it's a good game. I really enjoyed that on playing it flat. It's an old game, but it still looks good.
The trailer looks good. I've never played it, but it's one of the ones.
It's one of those games that's got really big set pieces in it at time, which there's one bit sort of probably fairly earlier on. It's like, you know, I'd got VR by the time I'd played, because they remastered it, released like a remastered version. That's the version I played. And I remember thinking at the time, oh wow, that'd look incredible in VR, you know. And I'm looking forward to it. I just really hope they don't mess it up. I hope it's, you know, decent, you know, proper performance. But who knows? Not long to wait anyway. Stranger Things as well. That's been delayed. Just with them saying there'll be a release date announced in the very near future. So again, it's like, who knows why?
I mean, when is the next series of Stranger Things coming out? Because it'd be a perfect time to release it now, but I don't know.
That's like some people said, oh, maybe they're going to leave it till the next. I don't think they'll leave it that long.
I think what's most disappointing for me is I changed my avatar to the Stranger Things cheerleader outfit, as you do, and I'm kind of looking forward to showcasing that while I played the game. But I guess I'll have to wait a bit. Oh, nothing for avatars. Have you guys had any trouble? I'll put this out to everyone really quick as well. Anybody listening or anyone in the chat for YouTube. I can't change my appearance now. So any facial or hair or beard or, let's say, eye makeup, for example, anything like that, I can't get that off my avatar now because it's not showing up. It's just blank.
Oh.
I've recorded it and sent it to Meta. But obviously they're really, really busy and haven't got back to me yet. I have asked a certain Meta ambassador to ask about it as well, but I've not heard anything. So maybe it's just me, or I've got some sort of bug. But yeah, I can't change any. I can change clothes, no problem, but I can't change any appearance at all. So if anyone else has got that problem, please let me know in the comments as well.
The only thing I've seen from, because I updated to version 59, the problem I had where people going, oh look, there's a native, you can record at 60 frames a second now. The only thing that, without using like side quest or, you know, Games Quest Optimizer, the only option I've now got in Quest is to record at 30 frames a second, and that's it. I've got no 36/72 option.
Yeah,
I've not got this 60 FPS option. I have singularly got.
That's really weird. I mean, I've had those settings for well over a year now. So that's weird how some of us have got that, but then some of us haven't got that.
I had those settings, and now it's gone back to just showing 30 frames per second. I can't change it from 30 frames.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, there used to be a little thing where you clicked like advanced camera.
I've done all that. Yeah.
That's really. I mean, I'm not saying that you were like dumb enough not to click that or anything, but
I mean, but that's the thing. It's because I did have those settings, and and then it's suddenly gone back.
Yeah.
It's not that they're not there. It's like you've still got all the options, but the options that are showing are limited now.
That's really weird.
It's literally like a drop-down thing, but the only option there is 30 FPS. It's like, well, where's the other ones gone?
You can still alter it to like landscape or portrait or square. You can still do all of those things. It's the frame rate stuck on 30 now. Yeah.
I'll double check mine and let you guys know later. what it is. But yeah, I'm pretty much sure I could still change your mind. But it's just the avatar. So if anyone does friend request me things like that, don't be shocked to see me wearing eyeshadow and lipstick and things like that. I just did it, like, say, for the Stranger Things thing for a giggle, and I can't get it off. So there you go.
It's possible on that frame rate thing as well that they're just using a default setting of like 30 implies half the frame rate that you're running at. Because if you look at the debug tool on the desktop, it will say like force reprojection ASW, and it will say force 45. What that actually means is force half of whatever you're using. So it could just mean half. I don't know, but
I don't know. Talking about Stranger Things, or rather TV shows, have either of you seen the new trailer for the 3-Body Problem? It's an upcoming sci-fi show.
You've mentioned it a couple of times, right, Roger? Is it opening in January?
It's been delayed slightly. I think it's been delayed a few months. But there's a new trailer, and I think I can't remember his name out of Game of Thrones. Was it Samwell Tully or something like that? The Meister in training sort of guy. Jon Snow's friend.
I only watched one season.
He's in it. But anyway, it's like basically somebody hands him a headset, this sleek-looking headset, and he goes, "Oh, it's got no displays in it." He goes, "He's sure this is really weird because it's not got anything like you'd find in an Oculus or a Sony." So I thought, wow, the Oculus got a shout out. Wow. Yeah, not Meta, Oculus.
No, Oculus.
Yeah, I'm glad they shouted Oculus.
But 3-Body. I think is it March? It's coming out now. 3-Body Problem. I can't remember the name of it. It's a Chinese author, and I can't remember the name, and I'd butcher the pronunciation. But I read the novels, and it's just absolutely amazing.
I started the audiobook of it because it starts in present day, doesn't it? I think, and then it sort of goes far into the future. Is that right?
Yeah, it sort of starts sort of present day / the sort of Chinese sort of cultural revolution.
Right, okay,
from sort of 20th sort of century, and but it goes from there all the way forward, way forward into the future. I won't say much.
I think it's really regarded as like a fantastic sci-fi novel, isn't it? Like the past 20 years or so, I think it's.
Yeah, I mean, I read a lot, but I don't generally read hard sci-fi. But I'd seen this mentioned by Palmer Luckin mentioned it. There's a quote from Barack Obama on the cover of the book, and it really is. I was thinking about once I'd finished reading it, honestly, I was thinking about it for weeks after. Unlike any other books I'd ever read, it was there was that much to think about in it. Yeah. Especially with the sort of the concept of why have we not been contacted by an alien civilization, and it proposes an explanation, and it's like that's woo. It's really good. Absolutely brilliant.
Other books are available, including The Memory Engine by Gary.
But anyway, Stranger Things delayed as well. But Arken Age. A new game announced by Vitruvius, who previously did Mervils, and Shadow Legend. So this would be their third title. Now, I remember I played, I think, the demo of Mervils in the past when it first came out, and I was like, this is obviously somebody's first game, but whatever. I never played Shadow Legend. The difference between Mervils and Shadow Legend, showing this sort of advancement of a developer seemed pretty insane.
Yeah, it was a great game. Shadow Legend was great. Yeah. I loved it. I think it was only about 3 hours long. It wasn't a long game, but what they'd done with it was really, really good. Yeah, I loved that one.
I remember people liking Shadow Legend, but I never got round to it. It seemed to have a lot of things in it and then not be quite big enough in scope. Like, because you got like a horse and you could feed the horse carrots and stuff and look after the horse or whatever. Yeah. But it wasn't a big enough game to didn't seem to be a big enough game to warrant needing to do that, other than it's just something you can do. But so the leap in sort of like what they'd done from Mervils to Shadow Legends, like, whoa, that's a big jump. If they can sort of like pull off another leap in how far they've come, it's interesting to see.
Well, it looks good anyway. I mean, you can tell from the trailer.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks really good.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know anything about it, so...
It's multiplayer, right?
It's single player, co-op? I believe.
Is it single?
Yeah, completely single player.
I don't know where perhaps I've seen it with co-op. I apologise. I thought I'd seen it as co-op, but...
It's possible it could be co-op. I saw from the tweet that they said single player narrative thing, as far as I know. But I mean, yeah, it looks good. And if they've, like you say, Roger, if they've taken the same step up since Shadow Legend to make it a bigger scope, it's definitely.
I mean, like the
there.
difference between this and I know I don't want to like compare it to Assassin's Creed because it's PC VR, but I just seen him chopping someone's head off then, which is kind of cool. That always gets a thumbs up from me. Not some sick, weirdo twisted thing, but that's the thing with Assassin. You couldn't really tell if you were damaging them or not, but that's really good.
Yeah. Well, one of the good things about Shadow Legend was that they did really incorporate a lot of VR mechanics, like grabbing everything and being able to manipulate stuff and climb things and all of those kinds of elements. So they know VR, there's no doubt about that. So
it looks an impressive world that it's in. It looks really, colourful, vibrant and expansive. So, keep an eye on this one.
A bit, I think it's sort of slightly Uberish.
Yeah, kind of.
In places.
Yeah, with the suit and that the man's got on, it kind of reminds me of that, yeah.
Stormland, I get Stormland kind of vibes as well in places as well from this, where he's sort of flying. It looks like he was flying in sections and stuff.
Interesting to see. A few upcoming things. I don't know who put this on there. CookieRun, The Darkest Night, Chapter 1.
I put this on. Right, I saw one random tweet about it, and I thought, I'll just have a look and see what this trailer is. And it starts off kind of really sadistically deep, and you look like you're in the oven being cooked as a cookie dude. And then it kind of gave me a bit of first-person Moss kind of aesthetic vibes to it, if you get what I mean. I think basically you're just trying to escape from the realm of the oven to start off with, and then get through this world to get out. But it kind of looked interesting to me.
Are you a gingerbread man then? It's sort of getting Shrek vibes here.
Yeah, that's what it is. And then you're trying to escape. I just like the weapons, some of the weapons they were using candy canes to hit people. And as you can see from the trailer, it's just something that I didn't know about, really, until I just saw this random tweet. I can't even remember what it was that I saw. It's interested me. It'd be something that I'd definitely play, I think it comes out end of the month, right?
November 30th.
November 30th, and it's like £23, or you can get 10% off now, but as always, hang on and get a 25% discount.
But the character design there looks very Shrek. It looks like
it just looked fun. It just looked, see what it runs like, obviously, but I thought it looked kind of cool and just something different. Being a gingerbread man, escaping from the oven got my interest straight away.
So anyway, one of the big ones, I suppose, what everybody's looking forward to is Arizona Sunshine 2, December the 7th.
Yep.
Have anybody pre-ordered? I mean, why would you pre-order?
No, I'm not pre-ordering.
No.
Yeah. So you said, Rog, this is cross-buy, is that right? So if I get it on the Oculus store...
They've confirmed it's Quest and Rift cross-buy, yeah.
Well, that's good, yeah. Because I want to play this on PC, really.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm going to play it on PC. I think they've confirmed as well the PSVR 2 version will be sort of 60 to 120, but maybe they're pushing up resolution and stuff like that anyway. I think it's going to be a good game, and I think I really enjoyed the first one.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we were talking about this, weren't we, Lee? That when that game first came out, I'm almost certain it was teleport only. And I'm pretty sure I played teleport only all the way through that. But it was so long ago, I can't actually remember. Because I know they added in smooth locomotion. But...
Yeah, they did. I think it was smooth locomotion when I played it.
Right.
Yeah. I played it a good few years after it came out. Because me and a mate of mine, we went through it one Saturday morning. We just loaded it up and went through it all.
Yeah,
but it was so far after it had come out. It was so. My impression of the first one was, it's okay, but I think maybe I needed to play it the time when it originally launched. I'd played too much, I'd played too many other games by the time I got around to Arizona Sunshine that it didn't quite have the impact maybe that it should have done.
No, when that one first came out, it was quite impressive because it was the first built for VR. Well, you had stuff by Servius as well, but those games weren't they weren't really narrative based. What was it? I can't remember. Raw data. You had like raw data and stuff like that was quite a high, high production values. But this had a proper story to go through. It was only short again, like 3 hours, but it was really impressive. And looks like from this trailer, it looks like they've really
looks
upped
really
the game.
good.
It does look really good.
The physics look really good. The shadows, the light, and it kind of gives me, a bit like Dead Island 2 in VR. I don't know if you guys watched Mark's video. I might put a video out when they were playing with GT, I think. And some of the stuff you could pick up. I think they picked like a wobbly sausage up and they were playing around with that. So you can pick quite a lot of the environment, and it looks really nice, right?
Great, yeah. Looking forward to this one. This one, actually, maybe this is even more. I'm anticipating this one even more than Asgard's Wrath 2, mainly because it's going to be a PC game, and I'm hoping that we can get it, dial it in to get a good looking game for once.
It's co-op too, right? It does a co-op campaign as well, so you can have 2 players.
I think it's 3. Oh, is it 2 player?
Is it
2 player?
Oh, okay.
It's 2.
I thought it was 2. It's a shame it couldn't be 3, and we could all jump in and play it at the same time. But
I think they've got a horde mode as well, though, haven't they? I think that 4-player horde mode or something.
That'd be quite cool.
I don't know the details. I'll have to look into that, but
no idea.
I know they've just been run about Pico, and I know like Mac and Clickster and PowerWash went down to some sort of presentation for Arizona Sunshine 2 on the Pico at the last couple of days, something like that. Friday, yesterday I saw them put some tweets out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Who just had a drink now? I just said someone. Was that you, Rog? Did you have a swag of tea then and put it down on the table?
No.
Right,
no, it wasn't me. I was muting my microphone.
I might have cleared the
is that what it was? I thought someone had took a drink from the brew, put it down at the table.
No. I think I mute my microphone, and then because my microphone's on the desk at the minute, I've not got the arm set up, so I think I was just knocking it when I came back in. I'm coughing and spluttering all the way through this.
I think mine does as well. I think when I mute mine, it might make a slight little spike. When I went to get a drink later on, I noticed it, but so apologies if anyone caught. Anyway,
going with a totally different vibe to Killing Zombies. We've got Wallace and Grommit in the Grand Getaway. No release date for this one yet. It all looks all right. The trailer looks all right. It gives a definite Wallace and Grommit vibe.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing that in 3D and seeing what it looks like to be, in that plasticine world.
The only reservation I've got is, and I know they do it because it's a stylistic sort of thing, and it's how they'd be animated on the actual TV shows. It's got that stop motion look.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you get that sort of thing in VR, there's a total contrast between that stop motion animation look and then the smoothness of everything else. And it's totally jarring. It's never right. I wish they wouldn't do it. I get why they've done it, but I wish they wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm okay with it in this one. I know what you mean. You can tell from the trailer straight away, how they're animating stuff. But I'm all right. We'll see. It might be that there's just sections that are like that, because when you look at the actual gameplay parts, I don't know if they are actually like that or not.
I think from your point of view, your character, I imagine it must be moving totally smoothly.
Oh yeah,
it's just the other. It's like when you got like Wallace in the environment. He's definitely looks sort of stop motion.
Yeah.
That sort of style, but it sort of looks nice. Hope it's better than the sort of Sam and Max game anyway.
I didn't play that one.
No, I didn't either. No, but I'm Wallace and Grommit fan, so I'm looking forward to it. Some of the games look kind of fun. It's just like a fun game to play for 20 minutes, half an hour at a time, and some of the mini games, just like a mini game type of thing, right?
It does. I hope it doesn't develop. I hope there's a bit more to it just than just mini games, but. It's a shame that Peter Sallis still isn't around, because they do a good job of replacing the voice, but it's never
the same.
Quite the same, is it? It's
Rick and Morty springs to mind as well, but
And then Dungeons of Eternity roadmap, apparently.
Yeah, I saw a tweet about this the other day. When I was watching Virtual Strange, I know Roots was talking to Martin saying, I don't know, maybe along the line they might have some endgame content or something like that, and I believe that they've put this in like spring, summer, maybe the end game content. I can't quite see it on the screen, so I apologise. But yeah, they've got an entire year's worth of roadmap there. So we're never going to be getting constant updates for the next year. And I love this game. I don't think I need to make anyone aware of that. and just with more monsters coming, more bosses, different dungeons, different weapons. Yeah, bring it on. That's what I say. I'm looking forward to it.
I think it definitely does need more. I can see. I know a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people. Some people did sort of criticise it for being sort of, light on content. And I think it depends how much you hammer it, how much you play it.
Yeah.
I don't think, if you sat there and sort of hammered it 24/7 for the first week it was out, then you're going to see everything, aren't you? But I've not jumped into it enough to get bored of it yet.
No, I mean either. I'm still seeing different maps every time I go in. Picking different weapons up. I mean, they do want a few little things I've suggested to the devs, like giving stats on weapons. So when you pick one up, you know if it's going to be better than the one you've already got, and just highlighting. That's another thing as well. When you do get weapons, I'm sometimes trying to look for them, just to highlight it. So, this is what the blueprint I picked up. All right, it's that one. Yeah, print it off and make it. But yes, I still love it. I think it's one of the best games this year for sure.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. It is very, very good. It's just fun. It's just fun to play with other people.
It's just popping the heads off. I mean, you arrow a skeleton's head off from 30 foot, and it flies in the air 24. It's such a fantastic feeling. Especially in VR. It just definitely makes you're Jason the Argonaut. So what's not to love?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's modern day Legend Quest, and that's good enough.
Oh yeah. I think we talked about it before. We still need to jump in together. We still need to play this so I can get a video on the channel.
Yeah, I've not played Oddly any.
We'll have to just stand in front and protecting Gary.
I'm like level 3. I am. I'm going to be.
You noob.
Yeah.
Noob.
Oh dear. MetaQuest referral code. So this is something we noticed. I can't remember. Oh, you'd given me a code to pass on to somebody else.
Yes.
And they sent me a
code.
Yeah, and they sent me a screenshot back saying it was only 10%.
Yeah, because I've reached my limit. So what's all that about, Meta? Because I spoke to other people. Midlife's actually querying this with Meta as well. This is the first time we've heard of it, or first time I've seen it as well. I can't find any documentation that says you get limited to certain amount of 25% off codes for one game at a time, or what, I don't know. But what I will tell you is I had 9 referral codes. Thank you very much to anyone that did pick one of my referral codes up, by the way. In the last podcast, I mentioned it a few times. So that's enabled me to get Arizona Sunshine 2 when it comes out. So thank you very much. But yeah, I think I used 9, like I said, and this is the 10th one. Your friend was the 10th one to try and use my code, as far as I know, and it came up with that. So I don't know if they're limiting it to 9 per person per game. Now
I don't know what's going on.
Nobody knows anything about it. I've tried to reach out to Meta to find out if what's going off with it, and I think Midlife's taken my screenshot, and I think it's happened to Scottish Gamer as well. So he's going to send those in and try and find any more info. If anyone does know anything about this, or if it is documented online somewhere, I can't find any info about this whatsoever. And if people aren't aware, you're giving 25% discount codes out, and if I would feel a bit, someone's going to get onto me and say, hang on a minute, you've said this is 25% off and it's only 10%, so what's going on?
Yeah. They need to make it clear, don't they? I mean, really, when I think if they made it clear, it would be perfectly fine, because it's bizarre, really, how they can do this. You don't pay full price for a game. Nobody does, do they?
No.
So they're making nothing on any game that
I'm
sell.
not knocking it, because I don't want them to stop doing this.
No.
Offering 25% discounts, but
you're right. They need to make it clear. If somebody gets a code expecting 25% off, why? It's just going to create a load of confusion, isn't it? So
yeah.
It's annoying, but we'll see. But who knows? The final thing we've got on here, if we've got time. Lee, you apparently been doing trying to do, was it ice skating motion capture or something? I don't know.
Well, my daughter's not been too well lately, and decided to give her a day off. So we went to sue me, not to cancel, but we went to the local ice skating rink, and she'd been taking ice skating lessons, and she's actually getting pretty decent. And I said, let's go, and I'll sit and watch. And she said, no, well, why don't you do it as well? And being the dad that I am, I went, yeah, why not? Seen enough time on TV. And I did used to go ice skating many, many years ago, 12, 13, to the local ice skating rink. I can always remember it because me and a mate, Ben, we used to go near enough in the school holidays all the time. And it was around about the time Madonna's True Blue album was out, and that's what they played on loop, non-stop, all the while we were there. So that's why I've got vivid memories of that. And, I could get around on the ice pretty decent. I wasn't no, Christopher Dean type thing, but I could get about. And I started off a little nervous, but I kind of got too overconfident and decided to try and get some speed up. And when you fall in... and you try to catch it. So I kind of thought, I started falling forwards, so then I started leaning backwards, and then I started leaning forwards, so I was sort of going back and forwards, like in slow motion, and I was just like building speed up like a pendulum, till eventually I just flung in the air like a cartoon, so I was like vertical in the air, horizontal, I can't remember which one it is, and all my body was laid out, and I just slammed onto the ice, and I slammed my back, I hit my kidneys, my ribs, and I bashed my head on the ice as well, so then I've on my neck. And very kindly, someone who was like skating around really good, coming in, like put his arm out and like, come on, dude, I'll help you up. It was like, it's my Terminator moment. Come with me if you want to live. Get off the ice. And he helped me up. But yeah, it definitely winded me. I definitely had some form of concussion and whiplash from it. And I just thought I'd let everybody know what an idiot I am for thinking I can ice skate at almost 50 years old after not doing it for 30 years. So yeah, there you go.
No, I've not. I think last time I went ice skating when it was when we used to go with the school. It's like, good grief. Oh yes, decades.
Yeah, I went last year. They have an ice skating rink in Leicester city centre, and I went last year with the kids. And if you've not been on for a while, it's surprising how quickly you can forget about all that stuff. It's not like riding a bike.
No, it's definitely not. No, definitely not. So I just thought I'd give everyone a little giggle at that at my expense. But that's what I do.
So that's everything on the list. There's a couple of things I thought I'd mention very quickly. There's the Jedi Academy Quest 3 mod. It was supposed to be out this weekend, wasn't it? That's been delayed.
Right.
So hopefully it won't be long until that's out. But yeah, I think they wanted to get it launched this weekend. But I think there's some issue they want to sort out before they do that. The other thing was a while. I can't remember if I mentioned it on the last one or not, but I'd fired up Star Wars Squadrons to have a look at, and that was just so good. But if you've never played it, I imagine most people listening to this have. But if you've not, in the current Steam autumn sale that's on, Star Wars Squadrons is currently £2.
Yeah,
which is it's like such a ridiculous bargain. I've picked it up on Steam just so I don't have to open the Epic Games launcher anymore. Because I think before it was opening the Epic Games launcher, which was then opening up.
Yeah, opens the
was it EA or is it
EA one,
Ubisoft one? Is it? So then it had opened up the EA launcher. Then it had opened up Steam to get Steam VR. So it's like, oh come on! So at least I can cut one of those out for £2.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think I've got it on Epic Games. I can't remember, but yeah, it does open about 7 launches, and then you do have to go into the settings to actually switch it to VR as well. It won't automatically switch to VR. And I had some problems with it last time I tried to run it. I couldn't get it to work at all. But
£2. It's like that's.
I'll get that. Good. That's like there's no. That is literally a no-brainer. You need to get that one.
It's a fantastic feeling. Yeah, especially when you're in the X-Wing and you're starting off and you're like, form up squadron, and you're like, all form up. It's like, oh, so cool. I'm looking out the window. I can see all these people in their X-Wings.
The flight controls for me are nowhere close to the old X-Wing or TIE Fighter games. It doesn't even match that.
I just installed that on my old PC. X-Wing.
They just got that right first time.
Yeah.
But it's still, I mean, for £2, good grief. A total no-brainer.
I've still only played about 3 levels on it. I've not, I really need to get into that more.
I started that game when it first came. I got it when it first came out, and the performance was just absolutely terrible. And there were frame pacing problems. I just couldn't get on with it. Then I started it again a few weeks back, and it's like, oh wow, this just runs great now. I'll have to play it. And now, unless because you have to log into was it UB or EA launcher, whichever one it was. I can't remember.
I think it's EA now. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know if it can actually cloud save my game, and I've not got that far in it anyway. So I'm sure I'll be starting it for a third time. Yeah. So yeah, anything else anybody wants to mention?
Other than, well, actually, we were just discussing the next podcast will probably be. We'll record it on the 16th of December, so it's going to be a few weeks until the next one. I know we had a break last time as well. But what we want to do, we want to wait until Asgard's Wrath 2 has come out so we can talk about that. So it will be released either on the 16th or on the 17th, and then we'll probably be on a break until sometime in January. We'll come back with a podcast. But yeah, so the Christmas episode will be on the 16th or 17th that weekend anyway. So
yeah, because one of the game shows happens in beginning of January, doesn't it? I can't remember which one it is.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that.
There's always one of the sort of trade shows in January.
CES is in January usually.
CES, yeah. So it's just sort of like hope something big gets announced there, but sort of after Christmas, you sort of maybe not.
I'm hoping that Sony do something with PSVR 2 early next year. Obviously, that's what I want. I want some announcements from them rather than just third-party ports.
Yeah, they've been a bit quiet just lately. Well, they've been a bit quiet since they've released it.
Since launch, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah,
because for me, I mean, I like it. I think it's a good headset, but I don't use it. I never use it at the moment. And I'm not saying there's nothing for people to play on there. I think there's a lot of stuff if that's your only headset. But if you've got alternatives, I just...
Yeah. I'm sort of tempted to pick up, because there's a sale on the PlayStation Store as well at the moment. I'm so tempted to pick up the Walking Dead bundle on there, because you can get both for like 20 quid. The deluxe editions are both for 20 quid. So to play it in like an OLED headset, which really needs to be out. It's like I'm so tempted.
I've still not played it. I'm still not playing.
There's a Humble bundle on at the minute.
I've got them. I've got them on Steam. Yeah, I've got them on Steam. Right. I've just never installed them and played them. But it's something I need to really get on.
If you're on PC and you've not played the Walking Dead games, there's a Humble bundle on. I think it's still on at the moment. I think it's 16 quid. You get Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 1 and 2, and then a load of Walking Dead flat stuff as well for like 16 quid or something ridiculous, which is just insanity.
Yeah, I've not played them that much. They're good games. I played a bit of the first one, like a couple of hours of the first one, and I recognise it as a good game. I just... So it's the same old story. There's a load of other stuff to play as well. Yeah,
I've never finished the first one, but I really enjoyed what I played of it. But yeah, I'd really like to play it in an OLED headset. But it's it's like there's so much else in there, and I started Cyberpunk as well, so it's like that could be a long one.
You ought to try the mod for that then, Cyberpunk, the VR mod.
Yeah, Luke's.
The thing is, I'm playing it at 1440 with all the ray tracing options turned on, and most stuff, I think pretty much most stuff maxed out. Not quite every, and with DLSS, and I'm getting like I'm V-synced at 60 FPS and not dropping below that. I've got it set so that, and it looks incredible. It's like, how much do I have to turn that down to get it running in stereo at a way higher resolution? And it's like
it's taxing on a 4090, so
I've just got to this point. I know I keep saying I want AAA stuff in VR and everything, but I've got to this point where I just want AAA, and I don't care what
You're sounding like Roots from Virtual Strangers. That's exactly what he says, isn't it? He's all about. He's getting tired of all these smaller games without depth, and I think I go through phases of that all the time. I just think there comes a point where I'm just playing game after game, and it's almost like a carbon copy sometimes of the previous one, and it's just not got a lot of depth. And it's how it is. And this is the thing, because Oculus have stopped funding PC VR. The big PC VR games traditionally came from Oculus funding stuff, and of course they're not doing that anymore except for their standalone platform. And
It does feel like sometimes with VR, there's some sort of this. It's got me in some sort of weird, sort of like Stockholm syndrome, where I'm liking it just because it's rather than because I want to. I don't know.
I know what you mean. It's like the problem I have is if I go into a flat game, I'm thinking. All I'm thinking, or at least not all I'm thinking, but there's a little thought at the back of my mind saying that if this was in VR, it would be an incredible. It would just be a better experience overall. It's like that nagging thing constantly now when I'm playing a flat game, and you can always get a great story and all these great graphics and this kind of stuff. And if that's what you're looking for, then great. But I'm looking for immersion. That's what VR is all about. And it's just, you can't mesh those two things. You can't mesh this ultimate AAA game with VR. Like a true built for from the ground up AAA game doesn't really exist. Assassin's Creed, that's really the closest we've got. And it's sort of hitched by
the sad thing is, we would have if Meta hadn't abandoned PC games. Yeah, we would have been there by now. You could see it with Asgard's Wrath as its first attempt. Well, as a big attempt. The Lone Echo games.
Yeah.
It's like, and they're years old now.
Yeah.
If they hadn't abandoned it,
Imagine how far would have come with standalone, and just how far we would have come, PC VR, which is I've said it before, which is kind of gets me a bit sad. With that Meta's gone down that road, but that's the way they want to go.
It was inevitable, wasn't it? Yeah. And I don't actually, because when you think about it, what we're getting on like a little standalone headset on the Quest 3, the experience is absolutely mind-blowing, really, when you think about what you're getting. But at the same time, the thought is always there, what could we have? So that's all it comes down to. And I'm not knocking standalone. I'm a big fan of standalone. I'm not like a PC Master Race kind of person, really.
I think the thing is, it's convenient sometimes. If you left your headset in standby, you pick it up, put it on, and you're in. Yeah. There's no friction, or there's very little friction.
Yeah.
And it's good for that. If you just want your 15 minutes, half an hour, or an hour, that's fine. But it's.
I mean, do you want me to? Sorry, Rog, do you want me to quickly mention my mate that came round? I totally forgot about it.
Go ahead. Yeah, I've got the video ready.
So for everyone that's still with us, kind of a little bit of a bonus bit for you. So Phil, if you've kind of watched this far, there's Phil. He's a mate from mine. I used to work in a factory making socks years, in my early teens. Well, late teens, should I say, and 21. So that's where I know Phil from. And I invited him round to try the Quest 3. It's his first headset that he's ever tried.
Wow.
Just then he was asking me if I could see what he could see while he was playing, so that did make me laugh. I think I put him in, is it First Encounters, the one where he's shooting the little fairy aliens that come through the walls and stuff like that. So I put him in that. I put him in some Walkabout mini golf. I can't remember if I tried him in Golf Plus, but I know he played a bit of Dungeons as well. I just showed it in briefly. I didn't have him running around. I didn't want him to put him in anything too intense that would put him off VR. But he had no issues with how it looked. He had no sickness issues, anything like that. And he loved it that much. He actually bought one at the weekend. Wow. So I think that's like about maybe a month ago now, 3 weeks, something like that. And when he got it home, his wife liked it that much, so she went and bought one too.
What?
So Meta, if you're listening, bit of commission there. Yeah, so they both picked up a Quest 3 headset. Wow. And I think the last thing he told me his wife was playing was the Piano Vision game, and she was playing that. So I've been playing some Walkabout mini golf with him. He does part-time now, so every Tuesday and Wednesday we've been jumping in some Walkabout mini golf and playing that. And I've actually got some video clips. I'll have to try and get them for next time, where we've both been doing holes in one at like the same hole. And I've also done one, can you remember the Labyrinth one, Rog, where I did the bloke swinging the axe, and I did the hole in one and you were shaking your head. I think we put a clip on it before. I did it again. The same one, so I recorded that and I said, this is for Rog, I'll show this one, Rog. But I just wanted to say that you're never too old. I'm not saying Phil's old, but you're never too old to get into VR. And he's loving it. He's just said it was mind-blowing. Well, he didn't say it in those exact words. There is a tweet I put out, so a bit expletive, but I think it had like 4,000 views. I said, dude, you're Twitter famous, 4,000 views seeing you playing VR. And he loves it. He's loving his Golf Plus. He's a big golf fan, so
it's like one of those things that we used to say ages ago. It's like one of the best things you can do with VR is actually show somebody VR for the first time, because it's like, I don't think nobody expects it, do they? They don't comprehend it.
No, you can't explain what it looks like until someone's actually got it on and looked through it themselves and seen what it's like.
Yeah.
There are people that still think it's literally just a screen that where you look, it's like a flat screen that's in front of you where it turns the point of view. There's still people that think that. It's not... I think
it's like, basically it's going to look like a 3D TV And probably with that same problem with the whole, the whole ghosting and the crosstalk between the eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's as if you're playing some depth 3D games where it's just a big monitor in front of you and it kind of looks 3D on that. But no, he's loved it. He's bought that. He even bought the Bobo strap as well. So, yeah, I've got it all geared up now.
God. But that just reminded me. I totally missed one of the things off the list. Well done. I always miss something. Kiwi have launched their battery head strap. 47 quid, $56.
Yeah, $57.
Sorry, 47 quid, $57. Available from their website. UK shipping is free. I know because I've ordered one. So we'll see what that turns out like. It's not a swappable battery; it's a built-in battery. I think it's something like 6,000 something.
Yeah, I think it's 6,500 milliamp hours. But is it 15 watts? Is that the one that you were talking about?
I think it's either 12 or 15. I sent a message in there. Someone,
it's 15.
Yeah, 15. Is that what it is? Because Kiwi had actually mentioned it on one of the Instagram posts, I think. So it's almost keeping up. I think. I mean, it's a Bobo 5 watts. It comes out something like that.
I don't know what wattage the Bobo is, but this will basically, because I think it requires, doesn't the Quest 3 need 18 watts to just stay charged? So this is going to lower it down.
With the Bobo, the Bobo can pretty much sustain my Quest 3. I know some people it won't. But for me, it sort of gets to sort of like 97%ish from 100 and then sort of stays there until the Bobo battery dies. So it sustains it for me. The problem I've got is I'm still using those printed adapters, which sort of they are getting a bit sort of like wanting to fall off at times now. But the buzzing battery thing as well. Both of my batteries buzz. Whether it's the battery or whether it's the actual. I don't get that.
Unless it's like I said, unless it's a frequency where I can't, because I'm partially deaf anyway. So unless it's buzzing at the frequency that I can't hear, then
it's like I know. I think I've said this before, but Sean from Rendered Reality, his old Bobo buzzed, but he's got a new M3 specific one, and he said the battery on that one doesn't.
All right.
So
I've heard some people say that even with the M3 it buzzes as well.
I think the Scorpio's buzzed as well when he got his, because he asked me if mine buzzed.
All right. So maybe it's just pot luck then.
Might be, yeah. But either way, if this is 15 watts, it's going to drain. Even if it's not sustaining it, but it might do in a lot of stuff. It depends. I suppose it's on the power draw as well of what you play and things like that.
I mean, Dungeons of Eternity is a massive power draw.
Yeah,
that draws the Bobo and the standalone battery for me at the same time.
Yeah.
Well,
so there's no halo on this, which I'm not too fussed about. But what I do like is it's got a padded top strap, which it's like
that's the one I'd go for. I'm not a fan of halos anymore. I think this is the one that looks like a good solution.
But I thought 47 quid, battery included, head strap, top strap, padded back rest.
I'm surprised you've not got one already, Gary. To be fair,
because I've got the Elite. So what it is, Zyber. Is it Zyber?
Yeah,
the batteries, They contacted me to see if I wanted to review any of their accessories, and I've said I don't really want to. I want to review certain specific ones. I want to review the battery strap, which that is not ready yet, and a dock. I think they've got a dock coming out, or some people have got some docks coming out anyway. And so those are the things I'm interested in. But because I've got an Elite strap on from Meta, ridiculously overpriced one, by the way. I don't really feel the need to reach out and try to do all of this stuff. I don't really want to make endless videos on accessories. To be honest, that's all it comes down to. But having said that, I was just thinking, I don't actually know if the Elite strap will charge or even maintain charge while I'm using it. I think it just reduces the amount of time, it slows down the discharge of the headset. I don't know. I need to really look into that because I've not paid any attention to it. It's never run out while I've used it or anything like that. So
Talking of draining batteries fast, though, that's something we don't think we mentioned, did we? The Quest Games Optimizer, you can now whack the GPU up to, is it 690 megahertz or whatever?
Yeah.
I'd be cautious of it. I mean, I'm not...
Gigahertz, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I tried it very briefly for the Assassin's Creed when you sent that Reddit post, Gary, to see someone had like cured the stuttering. And man, my Quest 3 got hot really quick, and I mean in seconds. So just be very, very aware. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I don't know, because these guys have tested it more than what I have. But yeah, just be aware that it will get very warm very quick.
It doesn't seem. I'm not sure.
It doesn't seem. No. I mean, it's like before the top. It was it 599 wasn't it before? It was the top you could go to, but now it's like 690. 690. That's like. I
think it's called insane, even on the. Is it called insane mode, something like that, on the Quest Games Optimizer? And just be wary of it. But
be careful. Yeah, definitely.
I don't think I'd run any games at that. I mean, I'm quite happy to use the HD Plus things on it. I've run Walkabout Mini Golf and that, and most of the games I do play now, I just use Quest Games Optimizer to run them in that HD Plus profile, and I have no issues, no extra heat, no extra noise, nothing like that. But yeah, when I whack that on in insane mode, it got real hot.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be rushing to try that one. And I think that's it. Anything else?
No, I think that's it for this one. We'll be back on the 16th or 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it's made sense, because I know we have waffled on, I've waffled on totally different things quite a few times, so I apologise if that's put people off a little bit. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody that watched last time, and any comments, I do read them all, do try and comment back to them as much as I can. And yeah, just appreciate everyone that's listening and watching on the YouTube channel. It's great. Thank you very much.
Just going to get a load of hate for Assassin's Creed. That's what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Well, can you just tag Gary and Rog in that and not add my name if you do? And that would be great.
That's it. Right. Well, yep. We will see you on the next one. Thank you so very much for listening to all our rambles. Good grief. The start of this podcast, honestly, it was like multiple attempts to even get going. I just couldn't get started, and now it's like I'm seizing up again. Thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate it. We always do. And cheers, everyone.
See you next time.
Take care. Wait a minute, I just shoved a Malteser in my mouth. 1 sec.
Yeah, I thought I heard something crunchy.
Yeah, it's me. I just totally forgot about to do a live podcast. Started eating.